woo, choo 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 choo, woo woo, all aboard the ALCS train. It's time. It's Cutter time. Hello, hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome to the Game 1 stream for the LCS. And today is a big day. Of course, the Blue Jays hosting the Mariners at the Dome. The Dome is shut because of the weather, so I don't know if it'll be a change because remember the Blue Jays in games 1 and 2. Valid reasons to skip a mortgage payment, playoff baseball. I don't know. Those guys who probably look at the mortgage payment thing is probably going to be the same. Probably going to be like, oh, you can't do that. Anyway, it is LCS time. Final four of baseball will be decided. First off will be the Mariners and the Blue Jays in the ALCS. Tomorrow, the Dodgers start in Milwaukee against the Brewers in the NLCS. And there is history between the Dodgers and the Brewers. One of the biggest moves is that people forget that the Dodgers and Brewers met in an LCS before. In 2018, it was a gigantic series. The Brewers did have home field in that one, too. It went to the full 7, and the Dodgers, with a few big catches and a big home run by Puig, won the trip to the 2018 World Series to face Boston, have momentum, but then they choked the momentum away. Mariners are wearing their emerald green jerseys. The Blue Jays are wearing their big blues, of course. So, yeah, the Mariners, what a game 5. It took 15 innings to take out the Detroit Tigers. Both teams had their chances in extra innings, but Seattle got lucky and won in extra innings. And so that means that we have Mariners and Blue Jays taking to the field for the LCS. This is a big LCS because this is the Battle of the Expansion Cousins, 1977. So got to do some stuff in case people look at the replay. This is a huge battle. Seattle has yet to make the World Series. The Blue Jays have won 2. And now let's take a look at the Seattle starting lineup. Blue Jays were 4-2 against the Mariners in the series. They actually swept a 3-game road trip in Seattle. Of course, it helps that fans from British Columbia and Alberta got to go to Seattle. Whereas the Blue Jays struggled 2 out of 3. Well, here we go. Randy Arozarena, a tough lefty from a left fielder from the Tampa organization in 2020 went to the World Series. He's your leadoff guy. Cal Raleigh, North Carolina, 16 home runs in his season. He's catcher batting second. Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod, the center fielder, number 44 in programs. He bats third. Jorge Polanco, who's had a few home runs against the Tigers in the LDS. He's batting cleanup at second base. Josh Naylor, the man from Mississauga, is at first base. Jeannie Suarez, third baseman, pretty good, powerful guy, number 6. Dominic Calzone, I should call him. He's the DH. Victor Parables will play right. And J.P. Crawford, or J.P. Morgan, I should say, at shortstop. Kevin Gausman is your starting pitcher for this game. There were rumors he was going to pitch game 4 of the LDS against the painful Yankees, the pesky Yankees, but he didn't. We went with a bullpen game, and it worked, except for the Ryan McMahon solo home run. The Blue Jays did well in the bullpen game and made me eat some fucking crow. Anyway, so yeah, the Mariners and Blue Jays have a combined 2-0 mark in the World Series. Of course, you know, the Blue Jays are the ones who are the 2-0, 92 and 93, wearing, of course, the $1.88 hat, wearing the Blue Jays blue pullover, 70s pullover, if you will, drinking out of my number 1 fan cup, drinking the Green Monster, no sugar. And of course, going to open up some baseball cards at the end of the stream. And ball 1 there. And we're flying the Blue Jays flag. So here's Arozarena, 174 against the Tigers in the ALDS. So that's kind of awkward. I mean, your leadoff guy is batting below the Mendoza line. And he goes wide on him again. 2 balls, no strikes. Arozarena has 6 home runs in 62 career games against the Blue Jays. The majority of them, of course, as a member of the Rays, because the Rays and the Jays are in the same division. All three. And you know how it is. So 3 balls, no strikes. Kevin Gossman has a 3.20 ERA against Seattle in 13 games pitched. Not just as a Blue Jay, but as an Oriole. Automatic take by Rosarena, and that's a strike. I think this is the first time in the wild card, the 12-team playoff format, 12-team playoffs that started in 2021, was it? I like to say that both teams in the both teams in the AL or NLCS actually are the 1 and 2 seeds that, they didn't need to go through the pesky wildcard route, because the 3 seed were Cleveland, who won the division, but Toronto and Seattle were 1-2. Payoff. Fouls it off his foot. Yeah, I think this is the first time ever we've seen this format, because usually 1 team comes out of the playoff format and ruins it in a sense. Anyway, 3-2 pitch on the way. He goes up the gut, but second base, nicely done. Easy throw the first. You betcha. That's 1 down. Yep. So, anyway. Yep, the ALCS. All that. So they're talking about it. Yeah, it's the 3rd postseason meeting between the Dodgers and the Brewers. They also met in 2020, I guess, in the regular season playoffs or something like that. Raleigh to right field, dinks one, and play it on hop to make sure it's a single. Blue Jays and Mariners, of course, they met in the wild card round 3 years ago when the Blue Jays had a chance to win Game 2 of the best of 3 to make it 1-1 and force it to Game 3 on that Sunday, but then blew that 8-1 lead. Hopefully we don't do anything stupid like that. This is actually the first ALCS in 9 years that doesn't have either the Astros or Yankees in them, or both, of course. As I'm getting the stats and all that, Rodriguez looks at a strike. He's batting below the Mendoza line himself. Well, Kyle Raleigh was like, 280 or something like that. Well, he threw the first pitch. Yeah, and of course, 2016 was the last time the Blue Jays made the ALCS, and that was against Cleveland, and that was when the Blue Jays fell victim to Cleveland's dominating bullpen. And that's why the Blue Jays got taken out in 5 games. And Brewers, Dodgers, and all that. So that's amazing and all that. Yeah. So that's huge and all that. So anyway, here's the pitch. And a foul. 0-2. So the Blue Jays, well, this is the first ALCS to either feature a team that has never won a pennant or a team that has had a pennant drought for more than 30 years. Since 1995, when the Mariners took on Cleveland. So that's the stat. I guess they haven't talked about things. All that pitch. J-Rod will flail at the center field. Raleigh, let's see what his speed is. He's going for 3rd. He will be safe as the throw is cut off. So it's 1st and 3rd for Polanco, who also is playing below the Mendoza line. Yeah, it's weird. Both ALDS and ALCS teams are actually they got the buys and didn't have to play at the wild card rounds. Usually, as I said, either the 3, 4, 5, or 6 seed, or a combination of 2 of those 4, get to the LCS and all that. And basically, people are saying, well, you're getting buys. That actually makes you a little rusty. So, yeah, this is huge. Blue Jays and the Mariners, no score through 1 out, 1/3 of an inning. Chopper the 3rd. They're going to go home. catcher crime. They saw Raleigh break towards the plate, and that's how you do it. You get the lead runner, and that was a clean tag. As you know, the catcher Kirk has to give Raleigh room to slide, and he did. He tagged him before Raleigh touched the plate and gave him a sliding line. If you don't do that, then the runner is called safe. Here's the Canadian boy, Josh Naylor, former Cleveland player who got traded to Seattle, I think, this year because Bo Naylor is in Cleveland and all that. Batting .261 in the postseason, which was, of course, the LDS. Didn't have to go through the wild card round like us. Like LA had to go through the wild card round. Milwaukee only had one round, and that was against the Cubs. The Dodgers had to go through the Reds in the wild card round and the Phillies in the LDS. Of course, the Dodgers took third behind Milwaukee and Philly for wins. That meant that LA had, as the worst of the division winners, had to go, oh, come on, that's right on the plate. Ball two, freak. So, yeah, Josh Naylor, he was with Arizona. Yeah, I guess Cleveland traded him to Arizona, and then Arizona traded him to Seattle. His OPS has been pretty well. Of course, I'm not really much on the OPS because, you know, me and my old school stats thing. 2-0. Naylor golfs at the center. Is it caught? Yes. Marshall makes the catch. And the inning ends with nothing on the board for Seattle. They had a couple of hits, but they got Raleigh cut down at the plate. No score. Just going to go through some scores and stats. I mean, I know that the Lions and the Chiefs are playing right now in Sunday Night Football. Well, that starts in about 10 minutes. Buffalo plays Atlanta tomorrow night at 7:15, and then Bears-Washington will be at 8:15. That's on ABC. I wonder how the Bears feel about going back to Washington after all. Last year, they were 4-1. They went into Washington. They were like a few seconds away from upsetting Washington, and then Jaden Daniels with the Hail Mary that went off a Bears defender and all that. So the NFL scores right now, the Giants beat the Eagles on Thursday night 34-17 in a shocker, a real shocker. The Broncos nipped the Jets 13-11 today, which was like shocking because, you know, Denver should have been able to take care of the pesky New York Jets, who are the only winless team in the NFL. And through 5 weeks, there has been no teams that are undefeated anymore. Well, there were no teams being undefeated after last Monday. Rams beat up on the Ravens 17-3, but that was only because Lamar Jackson got injured, so you couldn't do anything about it. Seattle took care of Jacksonville by 8 points. It was a close one. I picked Jacksonville. I was wrong. Carolina snuck past Dallas. I thought without Chuba Hubbard, Carolina was doomed. Guess I was wrong. Steelers beat Cleveland by a pair of touchdowns. Cleveland maybe traded the wrong quarterback. Patriots survived the Saints 25-19. Big win for us. We're 4-2. The Pats have won 3 straight for the first time in 4 or 5 years, and they're 4-2. They're only half game back of Buffalo in the AFC East. If the Bills somehow lose, we're tied for first place. I mean, of all things, we're there because we're supposed to be rebuilding and all that. Starting lineup coming up for the Blue Jays. Well, Chargers sneaked past the Dolphins 29-27. That was our pick, but I went Chargers. Colts snipped past Arizona by 4 points. Vegas beat Tennessee 20-10. Tampa crushed San Francisco by 11, and the Packers beat up on Joe Flacco and the Bengals by 9. So that will be that. All right, so starting lineup DHing is Georgie Springer. Nathan's Hot Dogs Lucas playing right field. Vladdy Jr. playing first. Addison Honey Barger at third. Alejandro Kirk catching. Dalton Varsho through the snow in center. Ernie, my darling Clementine at second base. Anthony Salamander Santander in left. And Andres the Gem Jimenez at short. And Bryce Miller was named as the starting pitcher for the Mariners to start this LCS. You know, Mariners used a lot of pitchers on Friday. They only had one rest day. Well, the game actually ended at Oh, did drive. No way. Yeah, say goodbye. That one. Georgie. Boom. How about that to start the bottom of the first and to start the game for the Blue Jays? First pitch, 385. Sayonara. Holy St. Laurent. What a start. You just can't script that. Game one of an LCS, and on the first pitch, you want to Springer Dinger. Well, that lady sign is correct. You got it, Springer Dinger. 1-0 for the Blue Jays. Unreal. After one pitch. Now here's Lucas. Miller will have to settle down. And Lucas could have swung at that. That was in the strike zone. Yeah, there's the home run jacket for George Springer. You can kind of wear it and not have to wear it. Well, I guess you'd take it off for your teammates, but you could kind of wear it because he is the DH, so he doesn't play in the outfield. Way up there, 1 ball, 1 strike. So yeah, my football pick'em is at 8-4 with 3 to left. Of course, the Sunday Night Football and 2 Monday Nighters. So I'm above 500 again for the first time. Last week, I was a disastrous 6-8 in pick'em. That was my first week being below 500 of the year. And now I'm going to be above 500, guaranteed. So 1 ball, 2 strikes on Lucas. I know it's spelled like Lukes, like Luke's, but it's Lucas. Swings in, fouls it off. Could have been worse. Long ago, that was so sure. Could have been worse. Well, Lucas doing his job. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs. So, that's the way it goes. Bounces in the dirt, no damage because there's no one on base. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bryce Miller has had 2 career starts against the Blue Jays, 10 innings, 8 earned runs. But, Seattle kind of was in pinch because, you had to go through a 15-inning game just to get this far. The game ended like at 1:10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday, and then, cuts the hours off. Lucas fouls it off again. And that's sometimes the best thing you can do. Just keep fouling off pitches and force the pitcher to use as many pitches as he possibly can. So it is 1-0 Blue Jays right off the bat. This is amazing. And I thought that, the dome being closed actually would hurt the Blue Jays. Oh, that's a looping ball. Foul again. He keeps fighting it off. Keep fighting. So, yeah, so it's a big battle royale, and, you got things going for you and things going against you. So what can you do? The 2-2. Once again, he fouls it off. He's got the bat to the ball, and it is in the strike zone. So what can you do? So you have Bryce Miller trying to do everything. This will be pitch number 9. He's throwing every pitch except for 2 at 90+ miles per hour. He'll probably take something off. Ball 4. Oh, ball 3. Sorry. I have to correct myself. That's ball 3. I thought that was ball 4. Whoopsies. Jeff Flatty on deck. If they gave an ALDS MVP award to the Jays Yankee series, he would have won that for sure. Like Out of the Park Baseball does that for the 18 postseason thing. They give LDS MVPs and all that. Lucas, well, should not have swung at that one. But the good news is he fouls it off. Is he okay, though? Nah, he probably just tumbled. Ooh. Well, that's going to be harmful. I mean, the second batter in one of the first, you've only played 1/2 inning. It's like, what the heck has happened? Did he go down on his own, or did he just take the awful swing? Man, this would be huge if Nathan Lucas was out. And of course, as traditional, I don't have the actual game audio within my stream because I don't want Major League Baseball and YouTube to get pissed off. Oh, He fouled it off his knee. He made contact, and yeah, when he fouled it off, it bonked off his right knee. That's what the commotion is. Ouch. So yeah, that's gonna hurt and all that. Well, George Springer went. So is he good to go for the 10th pitch of the at bat? Because they can only give him so much time for like injury things. So this would be a weird start to the ALCS. Springer goes deep. Lucas gets replaced in like the bottom of the first. You never know though. So yeah. Yep, they're going to have to be told. They're probably going to say, hey, you know what? You only have this amount of time. Miles Straw may have to come play in the game. This would be a rarity. Well, he's up on his feet. This would be a rarity, as I said. On a 3-2 pitch, he would be replaced by Miles Straw. Well, Miles Straw did come in and start a few games in the series against the Yankees. So Straw will probably have to come into the top of the second for defensive purposes. At least that's what I think. So, yeah. Let's see what ends up happening. So, we'll see what ends up happening. Three-two. Fouls it off again. So he's fine with fouling off pitches left, right, and center. Bryce Miller, this will be pitch number 11 in the at-bat. And all that. I said Springer was first pitch. I guess not, because he's thrown 12 pitches. This is pitch number 11 to Lucas. Queso said it was kind of close, but it's ball 4, so that's going to be a painful trot to first for Lucas. Miller now has thrown 13 pitches to 2 batters. Springer to right center field, and that was big. And all that, a big swing by him. Finding the seats from the catcher cam, that looks cool, right center field. 1-0. Here's Flatty. No, sir. That's wide. Batting .529, 9 for 17, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs in the 4 games against the Yankees. So if he can play like he got it, Flatty's my daddy. Duh, Yankees lose. Kind of cute. It's there. Strike 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike on the first baseman. Yeah, he's been producing. He only had 1 RBI in his other postseason matchup, and that was against the Twins. So he's got to produce. Flatty loops as the center, and J-Rod makes the catch. 1 down, runner on first. So he got control of the ball. Like, he could swing it, but that was a little too much, and J-Rod makes the catch. I mean, with the dome closed, you don't really have like a wind. And here comes Barger to come in. He's your third baseman today. Big news for the Blue Jays and their LCS roster is that they have both Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer on the roster. They're probably going to need a 4th starter for the LCS. It's basically Gosman, Yu, Savage. 1-2. I don't know who number 3 would be. Anyway, Barger, 333, no RBIs at all. So he's got to produce something and all that. Wide, ball 2. Yeah, the thing is, if you pitch 20 pitches per inning and all that, you're going to be tired through 5 innings throwing 100 pitches. And in this day and age, 100 pitches is a little too much. Unless you know you can pitch that well. All that. Oh, that looked like a strike, but it's called ball 3. So Barger will probably have the automatic take. Woodworth, number 32. I think that's the pitching coach for Seattle. So already Bryce Miller might be a little tiring. automatic take, strike one. So that's what you usually do. On a 3-0 pitch, you take a pitch to see if he throws a strike or he throws a ball at you. Well, he's going to throw a baseball at you, but you know what I mean. Nevertheless, we're going to be a 3-1, 1 out. Pitch on the way. Wide, and it's first and second for the Blue Jays now. 1 out. So the Blue Jays are big. You got 4 batters. Springer went deep on the second pitch from Miller to right center. You had Lucas on a 3-2 pitch, foul one off his knee, and then needing time to chat. And then after a fly ball by Flatty, the center, you had the walk now. And now Alejandro Kirk is coming to the plate. 1-0 Blue Jays. Alejandro hit a pair of tater tots in the first game. I think since then, he hasn't really been the best and all that. Don't you just hate it when those Fox cameras or Sportsnet cameras are just featuring him and all that? Oh, well, Raleigh's going to the mound and all that. It's kind of your reputation. So, yeah, Cal Raleigh says he'll be fine. That remains to be seen. So, yeah, the Blue Jays play tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That game will be streamed. We will do the streaming for game 2, obviously, because it is 5 o'clock. Game 3, I don't know. I think game 3 will be at 8 o'clock Eastern time because, Kirk 4 for 18. So after those 2 home runs, he had 2 hits the rest of the way. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what he does here. Bounces it, ball 1, nobody move. So, yeah, because the Dodgers-Brewers will play games 1 and 2 tomorrow and Tuesday. And, of course, the off day will be Wednesday, which would be the Blue Jays-Mariners game 3. So it has to be 8 o'clock because I don't see why Major League Baseball would put a 4 p.m. LCS game on for game 3. Kirk, ooh, foul. Sometimes when you look at it, it's like, oh, he just fouled it to center. Oh, he fouled it. 1-1. So that's kind of the thing. Kirk is 5 home runs, 10 RBIs in the last 6 games. And that does include the final 2 days of the regular season. Went for the curve, but that's a bit high, 2-1. Yeah, Miller's thrown 24 pitches this inning. As I said, 20 pitches per inning is a little bit awkward. Vladdy's drumming. He should be on base, but whatever. Anyway, it is 28 minutes into the stream. It is 8:28 Eastern time. It's 1-0 Blue Jays as they're trying to strike first in the ALCS. 2-1. Takes a pitch and fouls it to the right, 2-2. So, yeah, Kirk doing his job. Blue Jays really needing to put their foot on the pedal. They needed those 4 wins in the last week, 4 out of 6, because the Yankees were on an 8-game winning streak to end the season. If the Blue Jays had slipped up once in their 4 wins, they made it 3-3. The Yankees would have been the 1 seed, and who knows? Well, the Blue Jays would have played the Red Sox in the wild card series. Probably would have won. And then who knows what would have happened? Maybe we would have had a game 5 for Toronto and the Yankees. 2-2. Kirk went for it. Oh, that's going to be a pop-up. And that's an infield flow. Oh, they almost bumped into each other. That would have been amazing if they had bumped into each other. Well, I think Kirk kind of got a little antsy on that one. Here comes Farshall through the snow. A 438 average in the ALDS because Toronto's only played 1 round of the playoffs, whereas the Mariners 2. So, yeah, so the Dodgers start in Milwaukee. I have no problems. I think the Dodgers are going to win. They are 2-0 in the playoffs against the Brewers. I know that the Blue Jays lost their playoff series against the Mariners, that wild card series, but it is a little bit of hometown bias. Farshall to center field. J-Rod. Damn it. I wish we had wind because that would have probably drove it for a double. But Bryce Miller gets out of it with only 1 run of damage, and that's George Springer going deep. So, yeah, just doing a few other things too. Keep things. Okay. So that's what happens. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping. So anyway, that's what you do. Things are going your way. So anyway. So yeah, Fox doing this series, of course, for Joe Davis and John Smoltz being the big boys out there. So that's amazing. So we'll see what ends up happening here. So that's what they'll do. That's what everyone does to you. So Luke is still battling it out. Our compass points north. We want it all. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but technically Seattle's more north than Toronto. Everyone says, well, we the north, but yeah, Seattle's more north than Toronto is. Toronto's like in the southern part of Ontario, and Seattle, like Washington State, jumps up close to the BC border. All that. Here's Suarez, who has been pretty much a disappointment. He is a good hitter, but he in the ALDS was 2 for 21. He almost had 550 home runs. He was off by just uno. I think I pulled the Genie Suarez card. Did I not? Yes, I did. Either yesterday or game 3 or game 4, I pulled the Genie Suarez. Oh, he went for it. Strike 2. I think that's kind of what Gosman's thing is, being the ace and all that. I keep thinking Kevin Gosman is an AL Cy Young winner, but that can't be right. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. So, yeah. Suarez to left field, but thankfully we caught it. Yeah, a couple times All-Star, led the American League in strikeouts, but no Cy Youngs. I think he's been close. Yeah, I think he's been close for the Blue Jays to being the Cy Young winner, but he didn't get it. All right. Fair enough. So 1 down here in the top of the second. Blue Jays up 1-0. And here comes, come on, get the graphic. The guy who swings and misses on a pitch out of the zone, strike 1. That would be Dominic Canzone, who's 1 for 6 with an RBI. I guess because of Gosman, they figured he was the best bat off the bench. Should be that. Not like him. He wants to bunt. He wants to trick Gosman and by bunting. I mean, that's kind of bush league in a little bit of sense. But what can you do? So yeah, Blue Jays up 1-0. Here, pitch in the way. Swing and a moose. Throw it in 2. Guess they're having problems with the graphics because I'm not seeing like the little box with the pitcher batter thing in strike 2. And I don't want to switch off 22 for 28 for Fox. Sportsnet, Gosman. No, sir. He didn't go. I saw that coming. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Definitely didn't go. Won it all. Yep. That's our logo. We won it all. Well, I think almost every team would do the same thing. 1-2. No. Just off the plate. 2-2. That's all right. Gosman can get himself out of this mess, I hope. So Robles is on deck. I can't remember that guy's last name who was number 7 for Seattle. It was him. There's the strikeout. Oh, and strikeout, bottom of the zone. There's this graphics thing. 2 outs. They must have had a hiccup, but that's okay. Yeah. I can't remember who Seattle's number 7 is. I say Diaz. He's the reason why Seattle even got to extra innings with his looping single off the bench in his first postseason at bat. I mean, if it wasn't for him, then the 2-run home run by, crap. I like to say Torgerson, but Goss, no breaks. Well, let's hope so. Robles batting below the Mendoza line. A lot of people are like, well, if these guys are batting below the Mendoza line, then how did they get to the AL? Yes, well, of course, the main focus would be the one thing called pitching. Swing and a miss, strike 1. I mean, the Blue Jays, the good news with facing the Tigers, not facing the Tigers, is that no way they're facing Skubal, at least in Game 3. They probably would have saved him for Game 3 in Detroit because Skubal did have 13 strikeouts on Friday, but it was a no decision. Chopper fouled, strike 2. I mean, that's the thing that goes by every time. So, yeah. So, Gosman will throw a 1-2 pitch. So, anyway, 1-2, 2 out. Got him! Robles looked a little lost. That looked a little bit out of the zone, but Gosman gets another strikeout. 2 strikeouts in that inning. A 3-up, 3-down inning for those pesky Blue Jays. So, anyway. Yeah, the limited time offer. So, yeah. Wow. Alrighty. So, yeah. So, that's no fun. Bills Mafia loves Ernie Clement. Well, yeah, those pesky Buffalo Bills. Anything is possible. You gotta love the puns on those jerseys. Thanksgiving weekend at Ernie's. Going, yeah, you could see that a lot of fans are wanting to do well, want Ernie Clement to do well, and that's the truth. So anyway, 1-0 Blue Jays through one inning, and here comes Clement. First pitch is a strike. Miller throwing 27 pitches in the first inning. You do that in per inning, 4 innings. That's 132 pitches, 112 pitches. Excuse me. Clement batting 9 for 14 in the LDS. I think he had a better batting average than Guerrero. Why did he go for that one? That looked wide. Ay. Brutal mistake by Clement. He should not have thrown it. You gotta know where the ball is in your strike zone. I know I'm saying all this crap and all that, but hey, you know what? It's the Blue Jay fan in me. It's like you probably can't do anything better. Well, I'm 40 years old. Not too many people are my age and still in like the 4 major sports. I mean, I know that Ovechkin is an 85 baby like yours truly. But Ovechkin was born in September 1985. I was born in April 1985, so he's younger than me. Pitch to Santander. And a single. Because he wants, and he booted it. Robles booted it. Santander should be able to get the second. Well, it's a smart move to take one base on an error like that. So Santander, that's a single and an E9 on that one. The gem is coming up to the plate. Former Cleveland guy. Where's Tim when you need him? But I would be thinking to myself, where's Cleve baseball fan? I mean, the fact of the matter is that I'm like saying, well, it's probably you at Thanksgiving meal. And I'm like, Thanksgiving meal? He lives in Cleveland. He doesn't get affected by Canadian Thanksgiving unless he has Canadian relatives. I wish he did have Canadian relatives. But here's the gem, Jimenez. Or Jimenez, or however you want to pronounce it. Pitch. He takes a curveball in the zone, strike one. Robles. What the heck is... He has a card in his mouth? Oh, well, the chewing gum thing. Like, dude, you can't feel the ball with a card thing in your freaking mouth. Jimenez makes a big blooper. Robles, fuck. Man, 2 terrible pop-ups. If the Blue Jays had more patience and all that, I think we would have another run on the board. Springer comes to the plate. He went deep off Miller in the first inning. Miller's probably going to be like, no way I'm going to let Springer screw me over for the second time. Yeah, and Springer is a switch hitter, so he's going to bat from the other side of the plate. His second home run of the postseason. Probably thinking he can get Miller and all that. That's his 21st career postseason homer. Only 4 guys have more home runs than him and all that. Of course, once upon a time, Mickey Mantle had 18 to lead the league. But, of course, he played where there's only one playoff team per thing. Crawford should be able to get him. Yeah. Miller goes through 1-2. Miller gives up a single and an error, but still wins the battle. 1-0. So he's gone. Just doing some kind of thing off screen and all that. That's why I'm clicking a lot. Yeah, I had a basketball fantasy league. This is out. Right. Yeah, I had a basketball fantasy league. That I had to draft. I ended up getting the number 1 draft pick in that thing, and I actually had to miss some time. I actually had to miss the drafting first overall. Well, I didn't know I was first overall. I missed it because there was a active situation in downtown Kitchener along my bus routes, and they had to reroute the bus all that. So yeah, they had to reroute the buses, and I didn't get home in time for the first draft pick. And lo and behold, um, you know, all that. Fortunately, there was like 20 teams, so I got the first pick, and then of course it goes serpentine. Yeah, it goes serpentine, so that means that it goes like if you go first in one round, you go last in the second round, and then you get. Well, the good news is if you pick last in the second round, then you get another pick. So you go back to back picks, and I've used that to my advantage a couple times. You were only allowed 10 players per team, so a lot of players were actually drafted. The fans are going nuts here. The Blue Jay fans going nuts. They haven't really shown too many Seattle fans and all that. I'm actually disappointed. I thought there would be a lot of Seattle fans merging in because you got guys from British Columbia, but then you have to fly across the continent like a few thousand miles and all that. So I guess logistics. Blue Jay fans will have it a little easier in Seattle. Well, the Blue Jay fans from like British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan on the west coast of the continent, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're going to be like, well, why go to Toronto for a playoff game? Well, we can go to Seattle. And I'm pretty sure Seattle is not going to be stupid and try to ruin fans from coming to the game. So anyway, J.P. Crawford, the number 9 hitter with the dreadlocks, the long hair, 263 average. A lot of people wear those hair extensions and all that. They probably don't have a lot of hair. All that. Crawford, easy play by Clement. Takes his time, throws to Flatty, 1 down. Gosman doing his job. Now it's a Resurrena again. So yeah, the Blue Jays are up 1-0 in game 1. Game 2 is tomorrow at 5 Eastern time, 2 Pacific. They actually had to move the Leaf game from 4 to 2 tomorrow. So the Leafs game is bumped up to 2 o'clock so that fans who got tickets to both the Leafs and Blue Jays game, considering how much the tickets would definitely cost because of course, all that. It is not a bad thing. It's not really a logistics nightmare for the Blue Jays and all that because the Air Canada Center is a little bit farther from the Rogers Center than you think it is. It's right there. So that's actually good news that, there's the parking and all that. There isn't going to be too much parking problems. I mean, there will be, obviously, but yeah. Yeah, they moved the Leafs game to 2 Eastern time because they didn't want the Leafs game to compete directly with the Blue Jays. Of course, they couldn't do that on Wednesday because the Leafs were playing host to Montreal, but the Jays were in New York to face the Yankees. Well, yeah, you have 2 Toronto teams, but they're playing on different turfs. It would have been nice to see the Argos play on Wednesday. That would be weird how the Argos, Blue Jays, and Leafs all play on the same day. Pop up. Stay calm, Flatty. Good eye. 2 down. So, yeah. So now it's up to Raleigh to see what he can do. He had that looping single to start his LCS account. Mariners, the last time they made the LCS was 2001. They've only been to 2. No, that can't be right. Yeah, the Seattle Mariners have not been to the LCS since 2001. I keep thinking that they haven't. I keep thinking that they've been to the LCS more than twice. Yeah, West Division titles. Yeah, West Division, the wild card 6 times. 95, 97, 2000, 2001, 2022, 2025. Yeah, they haven't been to one since 2001. 2022 was when they finally So anyway, Yeah, 6 times the Mariners have been to, this is only the 6th time the Mariners have been to the playoffs in a 30-year span. Raleigh to right, that's way foul, fortunately for us. Yeah, 95 they went to the LCS because they took out the Yankees in that famous game called the Double with Edgar's double scoring both Cora and Griffey. 97 they were taken on in the first round by the Indians. 2000 they won the wild card. They actually shocked the White Sox in 3 straight games in the LDS. Got to the thing against the Mariners, against the Yankees, and got taken out in 6. And in 2001 they got taken out in 5. And in 2022 they lost to the Astros in the LDS. Did he go? I don't think so. So yes, this is the first time the Mariners have been. Good luck to your Jays. Thank you. World's Worst Gamer has popped in and all of that. Fantastic. Check out his wonderful channel because he's got some PC gaming and some tabletop gaming and all that. You know, a lot of the people that have visited me and all that are do tabletop games. And Raleigh swings and fishes and gets and has to cut bait. A big strikeout by Gosman, especially over who could potentially win the MVP. The problem is that everyone's going to say Aaron Judge. But I think Cal Raleigh should technically win it. But the problem is they don't take postseason stuff into account when they check the regular season MVP. Because obviously, one case with the Blue Jays and George Bell in 1987, World's Worst Game where you see me in my blue pullover. I go back to the rotation wearing the blue pullover for game 1. Until the Blue Jays lose, and then either go to the current light blue look or the gray road jersey and all that. That's part of my rotation and all that. So, in case you missed it, Blue Jays started off fast, 1-0. George Springer, first batter of the game for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the first, off of Bryce Miller, went DB2, what can you do? 1-0. After that, nothing else has majorly happened to either team. So Blue Jays will be going to the bottom of the third, hopefully trying to start off on top because, tomorrow afternoon, 5 Eastern time, that's when game 2 of the LCS happens. And then just right after that will be Dodgers Brewers starting up their LCS game 1, at 8 o'clock in Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee is the favorite, but I picked the Dodgers because I'm like, the Dodgers have had good times against Milwaukee. I mean, the Dodgers are 2 for 2 against the Brewers in the postseason 2018 and 2020. And so, they met in a very high intense 2018 LCS, which saw a game 7 and saw Chris Taylor. Was it Chris Taylor who made that great catch in left center field? 1 inning, and then Yazzie Puig went deep-a-doo. What can you do in the 7th, in game 7? That was huge. And then the Dodgers lost the World Series to the Red Sox in 5. They should have had momentum because the Dodgers screwed everything up because they actually won game 3 to go up to cut the deficit down to 2-1. And then all of a sudden they choked a big 3-0 lead in game 4. And then the Red Sox had the momentum to win games 4 and 5 and all that. Yeah. Man, you got to be crazy to sit up in the 500s in the upper level of Toronto. I mean, I have a fear of heights. So, sitting in the 500s is not the best option for me. I've only had to do that once in how many games have I been to live? I think I've been to 18. I like to say 18, but I'm probably wrong. So let me do the math here. I went to the game at least once every year from 93 to 2007. That's 15 years. And then I went to 2 in 2007. I went to the home opener and the normal July game. So that's 16. Yeah, I've been to 18 because I've been to 2 Blue Jay games since 2007. And that was in 2023. I mean, what happened was in 2020, the Blue Jays were hosting Texas, and my men's church group were going to go see the game in June 6, 2020. Unfortunately, though, COVID ruined it. And also, it would have been a massive conflict of interest to me because that day actually was the day of the ball hockey tournament. So thankfully, in a sense, I got out of that problem, although I didn't see the Jays and I didn't get to play ball hockey. I wonder what Pete Walker's up to. What is he doing in the bullpen? Oh, he's talking to the pitcher. I'm like, he's talking to somebody. Oh, he's talking to Gosman, who's got the ice bag on him, obviously. So, yeah, all that. So, anyway, fly ball. Oh, I thought they were going to cross their symbols, but the left fielder makes the catch. So, anyway, yeah, I'm not getting a lot of the live action and all that. So I'm just writing down lurkers or welcome if need be. I mean, you're allowed to lurk and all that. As long as you don't cause trouble, I'm not going to get complaining pants. Yeah, Flatty, 20 plate appearances against the Yankees, struck out once. That's a pretty good slugger, if I may say so myself. But he gets a strike there, but he didn't swing at it. He rarely swings and misses. Usually when he swings, he connects with the ball. So let's hope that Flatty keeps his momentum going against Seattle here. Yeah, this is the Mariners' fourth LCS swing. Swinging enough foul, 0-2. Yeah, this is the fourth time that the Mariners have been to the LCS, 95, 2000, 2001, and of course 2025. 95, they lost to Cleveland, who lost to the Braves in the World Series. 2000, they lost to the Yankees, who won the World Series. And 2001, they lost to the Yankees, who then lost that famous 7-game series in 2001 to the Diamondbacks. 0-2. Didn't go. No, sir. That was wide, but one. Yeah, Flatty seems to not inherit his father's penchant for swinging at anything that's like within a foot, because Flatty Sr. was known for being a bad ball hitter. Flatty swings and grounds out, but at least he didn't strike out. So 6-3 on the ball. 2 out. Blue Jays up 1-0. I'm actually surprised. I thought I would have a couple of people coming by because of the fact that RJL Network is not doing Inside Pitch today, because he finished his League Division Series 1999 tabletop thing. And if the Astros and Giants went to Game 5 of that LDS, of course, that's a fake because it's the 99 season and we're in 2025. He would have, frig, right to him. Ooh, he had to go quickly because Barger was hightailing it. Unfortunately for Barger, he got bit. But that's okay. The Jays are up 1-0 through 3 innings, and we're about an hour into the stream and an hour into the game. That should make sense. 3 innings per 3 innings. Strong bro. So, anyway. Sorry about that. I had to take some care of business. Yep. So Turkey in the Straw, Miles Straw, is now in the game in the fourth, playing right field. So Lucas, his knee, I don't think has worked out that well. So anyway, he's got to come out of the game. Well, I mean, he did hit the foul ball off of his knee. So you know something happened. And a strike by J. Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Blue Jays are only up 1-0 through 3 innings of play. People thought that the Jays at home would be crushing the Mariners and all that. But the Mariners are more disciplined than the Yankees, despite the Yankees being, well, the Yankees. So we'll see what happens here. J. Rod, strike 2. So that's what ends up happening here. So, yeah, fellow M's. Aha! There you are. There he is. There's Jason Langren. There he is. Like, dude, I was thinking to myself, well, please show up for at least one of these streams because, you know, I did it. Yeah, Julio struck out. Ooh, yep. The bat crossed the plate. Can't do that. He tried to pull out. But pull that swing technically. I should have said it like that. You know me, sometimes I just can't say things correctly. But anyway, yeah, Jorge Polanco at the plate now. 1-0 Blue Jays says, you know, wearing the light blue pullover of the 1970s, if you must know. You know, I've had this since 2009. So this is one of my longest serving shirts in my closet. 16 years. I bought this off of a whim in 2009 and I've worn it since. So it's pretty impressive. And of course, the famous $1.90, $1.88 Blue Jays hat. Now, of course, Jason, I don't know if you've been watching my other streams, like my first round streams and all that, but you know, you're 3 hours behind me. So like, you know, you're probably at work by the time I'm doing my broadcast and all that. Because, you know, we have a different time zones. But yeah, this was $1.88. And I think it was 2022 when I got this. But it was supposed to be $42, but my buddy Bill Lang, oh, come on, Flatty, beat him. There you go. All right, Flatty, 2 down. So yeah, Flatty's better than advertised, that's for sure. We gave him the bag, he has produced. Now Naylor to the plate. The Canuck. Flatty knew what to do. He knew he just had to tap first base. He had him. Good on him. Hey, where'd you go? I hate that and all that. I hate when, you know, you're talking to people and you're all that. Unless he has to go. And I know Lindgren probably would because it's 6 Pacific time. It's 6 local time for him. He probably has to go for separate. Fair enough. I mean, you can lurk. It's no big deal. Like, as long as you're a good lurker, I'll be happy. Josh Naylor to the plate 0 for 1. But yeah, so I guess I can't tell my stories because, well, I kind of can because maybe he'll catch the stream at the end and all that because, you know, you'll catch it on replay and all that. But yeah, I know I could have the baseball overlay and all that, but I'm not going to pay like a fortune for that. And, you know, I don't make a lot of money and all that. You know, I have a fair size in my bank account, but you never know what could happen. So that's the thing. Anyway, 2-0 to Naylor. Ooh. Something's with him. Does he have something in his eye or something? He's got something in his eye. He's got to be careful. Yeah. You can call for the trainer if you have to. But they don't look like they are. I'm going to say Cal Raleigh probably would be spending too much time in his catcher's shin pads. Naylor fouls it off wide left. 2 balls, 1 strike on that one. So yeah, it was $1.88. So it was basically there. And you know, I've been wearing the Blue Jays hat and all that. I wore the Leaf hat during Game 4. I mean, yeah, the Blue Jays lost, so I usually switch to a different hat. But the Habs, Naylor, that's a good swing. Oh no, that's a good swing. Oh, if that was an open air state, if the roof was open, that was gone to tie the game. But he didn't get all of it, and it's not going to be a home run. Kind of say phew on that one. I think I'm allowed to say that. Am I not? Am I not allowed to say, hey, phew? Because I think I can. So that's the thing here. Okay, I got it. I got to do a few videos for context and all that good stuff. Yeah, I just got to create a few videos to upload. Hopefully, yeah, probably like 10:05 I'll upload them. I wonder if I'm going to get because I have been a couple of times been booted from broadcasting from uploading because I've hit like a certain number in a 24-hour period. So anyway. So yeah, I got my 3 videos to be created and all that. So yeah, creating videos is not as easy as it looks because you have to get everything set in the stone. So yeah. Yeah, I know how you feel. And all that, so. So yeah. They're advertising this home plate Terrence Club and all that. The amenities and all that. I hate to say it, but a true baseball fan doesn't need like luxurious spots to watch the Blue Jays game. They'll watch from the nosebleeds that they have to. That's technically my POV. Is like with me, it's like I think it's week 6 or something like that. So anyway, welcome to Kirktober. Since week 6, yeah. The second 10 NFL tournament and all that. So yeah. Kirk at the plate. Did he shave or something? I don't know if he shaved or not. You know, traditionally in the playoffs, you don't shave until you're out of the playoffs. Oh, come on. Now he's out of the zone. Yeah, sometimes perception is bigger than you think, but yeah. So yeah, doing a lot of these streams and all that for like 3.5 hours per stream. I did 4 because of the 4 days. All that. Yeah, the Leafs game. I would be doing a Leafs double stream, a Leafs Blue Jays double stream tomorrow, but because the Leafs game is still on Amazon Prime and I don't have Amazon Prime, which ticks me off because I'm like, well, come on. You know, do they really need an Amazon Prime game on Canadian Thanksgiving? Wait, Toronto Maple Leafs. Yep, says the next one's live Tuesday at 7 o'clock on TSN. Yeah, they play tomorrow on Prime. Ticks me off because that means that, you know, I don't get it. Kirk flies to left. That is out number 1. As a resident, why do I struggle? Randy Rosarina. Sometimes I would love to get my pronunciations down pat, but sometimes I have not. Pathetic, don't you think? Yeah, so yeah, I'm doing 2nd and 10 football. I got to do that. The weekly NFL thing for the 128 team tourney. I've got to do golf. highlights and out of the park baseball highlights. Because somehow Bandicam got very picky and I couldn't get the full highlights of the game. However, they did have a feature called Watch Replay. And thankfully, well, I did the game, but it didn't record like my video and everything, my audio. So yeah, I had to do kind of a condensed game of that and the Phillies against the Rockies. And it was a pretty interesting game. Someone threw a complete game victory. Not telling you who. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So yeah. Love to. Sashim, strike 3. But that's not supposed to be a strikeout for us. That's supposed to be a strikeout against the Mariners, not against us. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a YouTube comment. Uh-oh. I might not like it. First live home run franchise history here. So a compromise worked out. Yeah, me and Bill did a compromise. Clement to center. Shit. Miller has gotten out of the mess. All right. Tomorrow's supposed to be 17 Celsius. So anyway, I'm just going to mute. Sorry about that. I had to get a few things and I didn't want trouble. Now what? Sports catastrophe about Bret Hart 1992 winning the WWE belt at a house show in Saskatoon against Ric Flair. I mean, that was just amazing how Bret Hart could win the WWE title in a house show. Well, Primetime Wrestling had it, but like that wasn't like a major pay-per-view or anything. Caleb Joseph used to be playing. He played for the Orioles. He was a Canadian born player, so yeah. George Springer, first leadoff home run in postseason history. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that would sound right. So we're just doing that. The CN Tower is the Space Needle's daddy. That is kind of cute. The way the signs are. I wonder how big the signs in Seattle are going to be. Because, I mean, Seattle, a couple years ago, they had posted some things about, Stanley Cup champion since 1993, U.S., whatever, and Canada 0. And say milk doesn't deserve to be in bags, or Mr. Rogers is better than Mr. Dress Up. We don't need ketchup chips. Because ketchup chips are in Canada and not in the United States. Gossman on the bump against Suarez. I keep thinking Gossman's hairstyle changed, but it did not. Which is up 1-0. That is a strike just inside on Suarez, who's not batting that well and all that. But, sometimes things happen. I mean, I'm looking at things. All that. And fly ball. Flighty has a beat on it. Yay! popped up foul. Don't throw it in the stands. I think that's a taboo thing. Yeah, why not? So I'm thinking about when I'm talking about Suarez. I mean, like you can have a terrible batting average and then you come up clutch. I mean, Kelly Gruber in Game 3 of the 2000 in the 1992 World Series, he was like 0 for 20 in the postseason, and then he came up and there's a green emerald Mariners jersey up in the upper tank. They found him. It's like, where's Waldo? Canzone takes the first pitch, pop up, give him room, give Marshall room. Thank you. 2 down. So Gosman doing his job. All that. In a 1-0 game, you got to be careful. Any bad break either side can make things happen. Gosman's. Okay, I thought it was like, oh, what is something wrong with Gosman? Well, anyway, yeah, Gosman just needs one more out, and we can get to the bottom of the fifth. There's some Mariner fans up in the stands with the Seattle jerseys and all that. Found them. I wonder how many times that Fox has been trying to aim for Mariner fans. Robles to right field. This is trouble. Oh, I thought that was going to drop. Somehow, in some way, Straw makes the catch, and Gosman gets out of it. Easy peasy lemon freaking squeezy. So it's an official game now. Blue Jays up 1-0. I mean, not a lot of hits and all that. Yeah, Milwaukee, LA will meet for the NLCS pennant. That'll start tomorrow at 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 local time, because Milwaukee is an hour behind us in the Central Time Zone. And that will also be for Game 2 because, the Blue Jays Mariners would be on the travel day on Wednesday. It says Jesus won. As Bryce Train said, yeah, he did hit a massive home run, but anyway. So, yeah, that was huge. The Dodgers, their respective, is Blake Snell named Game 1 starter. The question on everyone's lips will be, will Clayton Kershaw start? Will Clayton Kershaw start any of the games? Probably wait till Game 3 or 4 in Los Angeles, because Kershaw is finally hanging them up and all that. It's big for LA Legends because Kershaw's lasted a few decades in the LA system, and so too has Anse Kopitar for the Kings. He's retired after 20 years. Can't believe it's been 20 years for Kopitar playing in the NHL. And with only one team, you don't see that every day. I mean, yeah, Crosby's at about 20 years with the Penguins, and Geno Malkin too. But, you usually don't see that much loyalty and all that in sports. But you know how loyalty sometimes can be a big thing. Blue Jays are trying to get into the 3rd World Series in team history. I mentioned the Mariners, so I'm just going to type in the thing. I might as well just type out what I'm thinking in the chat because, I'll have the chat replay and all that. So, yeah. So, this is the 7th time the Blue Jays have been to the ALCS. 85. Well, of course, the first 5 times happened in the era that you had to win your division to make the LCS. All that. It was 2 teams per league's playoffs. 2 in the AL, 2 in the NL. That's the way it goes and all that. So, 85. Blue Jays were up 3-1 in the LCS against those pesky Kansas City Royals, up 3-1, had a chance. Needed that 4th win to get into the playoffs. To get into the World Series against the Cardinals, or the Dodgers for that matter. But they couldn't do it. They were up 3-1, blew it. And, that was pathetic. That was actually the first year that the baseball people said, you had to win 4 in the LCS to make the World Series, not 3. If it was the old system, the 84 system, the Blue Jays would have went to the 85 World Series, played the Cardinals, maybe win, maybe not. I don't know how they would have done in 85. I think they probably would have lost in 6 games. But then again, it's big for St. Louis because Ozzie Smith, his home run in game 5 would have actually been a pennant winning home run, not just a game winner. It would have been like Chris Chambliss and Travis Ishikawa big for winning an LCS by home run, and Miguel Ordonez for that matter too. But yeah, 89, the Blue Jays won the AL East on the final weekend. Baltimore was one tough son of a you-know-what. I mean, the Orioles were crappy in 1988. They had that 0-21 start, and then, they faltered to like 104 losses. It could have been worse. But then the Orioles came out of freaking nowhere to do well in the division with Frank Robinson as manager. And then the Blue Jays freaking put up numbers. And with Cedar Gaston coming in for Jimmy Williams early in the season, the Jays won the AL East. Oakland, unfortunately, was easy prey. Well, Oakland took us out in 5. Ricky Henderson was basically a one-man act for the A's that series, scramble 4-3 on the count. And then, of course, the Blue Jays doing their stuff and all that. And then 91 was when they won the AL East on the final week, not the final weekend, but the final week to eliminate, I think it was the Tigers who was chasing us. Someone was chasing us in 91. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, Blue Jays took on the Twins in the ALCS. Somehow those pesky Twins got us unglued. And so we lost that series. Springer fouls off a pitch 0-1. And then 92, Blue Jays won the AL East. Milwaukee and Baltimore were lurking, but Jays had to win on the second last day. And then they took on the A's in the ALCS, and everyone thought that when the Jays lost game 1 at home to Oakland in the ALCS in 92, that the Jays were easy prey. But the fact of the matter is wide, ball 1. So, yeah, it was easy prey and all that. But the Jays came back, especially in game 4, down 6-1. They tied it thanks to Robbie Alomar's dramatic LCS home run off of Dennis Eckersley, of all people. Jays won that game. We're up 3-1. Lost game 5, but came home to game 6 and crushed the A's 9-1. A couple days later, we would be going to the World Series in Atlanta. And finally, we got rid of our ALCS duck on our 4th attempt. If that's true, then the Mariners would do that too. Anyway, 93, the Blue Jays were dominant in the AL East, much more so than normal. And then, the Jays faced the White Sox in the ALCS, won the first 2 games in Chicago, lost the next 2 at home, but then won game 5 at the Dome when they needed to, and then won game 6 in Chicago and had a good time. 2015, the Blue Jays in the LDS, of course, this was now the time that 4 teams per league got to the playoffs instead of 2. Blue Jays won the AL East. They would take on Texas. They had home field up 2-0, and then 3 straight losses. Springer, what a terrible ball to swing off of. Strike 3. So we go to the 6th, 1-0. 4 hits combined. Wow. This is a pitcher's duel. And I thought the Jays would easily take care of the Mariners because of the Mariners being fatigued. Yeah, Subway basically now has switched from 6 inches to 15 centimeters. Now you have to now the things are available in centimeters less and all that. Sometimes it's actually good to be in inches more than centimeters. I mean, for sub sandwiches, that would be the number one thing. There are some things that centimeters are better than inches in, but yeah, 1-0 Blue Jays through 5 innings. And yeah, it's a pitcher's duel and all that. I know Yusevich goes for game 2. I can't remember who would go for game 3. Well, Barrios is still hurt. Bassett is active. Scherzer's active. But, of course, game 3, we had to be in Seattle. So I don't know if – we'll probably put Bassett in game 3 by my guess, or even game 4 and all that. Seattle's got a few good starting pitchers on their own accord. 2015 ALCS, the Jays took care of Texas in the LDS, being down 0-2, then won the next 3, including the Batista bat flip. And then in the ALCS against Kansas City, had a tough time, faltered in game 6, which would have forced, if we had hung on in game 6, that would have forced a game 7. And maybe, just maybe, we go out to the World Series against the New York Mets. And then in 2016, after beating Texas 3 straight in the LDS, we met those pesky Cleveland, whats, and lost to them in 5 games thanks to their freaking bullpen and all that. So yeah, so we're 2-5 in LCS appearances. The Mariners are 0-3, so we're combined 2 for 8, 2 for 10 in LCSs. These are doing another 50-50 draw stuff. Like right now, it's almost $500,000. I mean, that's amazing. One of these tickets. Cosman back on the bump. We'll see how long he lasts. It's only 1-0. He's throwing 55 pitches in 5 innings. That's a pretty good number. 4 strikeouts, 2 hits against. And, Gossman, if he can just keep wintering along and not give up hits and just have low pitch counts and all that, he'll last long. And maybe, just maybe, the Blue Jays will be in a good position. All right. Is that Raleigh on the plate? Sometimes it's hard to tell because you don't know the appearance. Nope, it's JP Crawford. Yeah, you got a lot of Blue Jay shirts in the background, the Bears background, including a couple of people wearing those Blue Jay home hockey jerseys. Ball went there. Up. Farland is one of the pen. I think with the score being 1-0, you can't take your chances too much, especially when you're down to the Final 4 in baseball. Ball 2, yeah. I mean, the last time the Blue Jays were in the Final 4 was 2016. That was the same year the Cubs and the Dodgers were battling tooth and nail for the NL pennant, and that's when Miguel Montero hit that grand slam in the 8th inning of Game 1 to break the game open. Ooh, wide, ball 3. This doesn't look good. Probably be the automatic take, or he'll swing at it. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, Cubs and Dodgers, that was a decent 6-game series, but the Cubs survived and got to their first World Series at the time in 7 decades. Automatic take, strike 1. I mean, that's amazing. 71 years in between World Series appearances. Not even Cleveland did that. I know Cleveland's got the longest current drought of a championship and all that. Swing and a miss, strike 2. This will be a payoff to Crawford. A full count pitch to him. But yeah, Cleveland hasn't won a title since 1948. That was before CBC became Canada's official TV station. Like, Canada didn't have an official TV station. There were, I don't know if Canadians could get TV signals in 1948. Gossman. That's a strike. That would have been a strike. Oh, no. Okay. He had time. Thank goodness Clement had time. That would have been disastrous. But that's a ground up 4-3 on your scorecard. 1-0 Blue Jays. We're in the top of the 6th. Watch Clement. Yeah, the ball just rolled out of his glove. He had no problems. He was chill about it and threw it to first. The last time the Mariners were in the ALCS was in 2001. The NLCS was the Diamondbacks versus the Braves. That's right. Because I know the Diamondbacks almost choked in the first round against the Cardinals in the LDS, but managed to win Game 5 at home, and then it was the Braves because the Braves kept getting eliminated at the worst possible time. All that. No, sir. That's a wall. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast. Top of the 6th, 1-0 Blue Jays on the Springer leadoff home run. Walk off my butt. But yeah, leadoff home run here. The 1-1 on the way. Yeah, just snuck in the strike zone. Strike 2. And all that. Yep, the ump is calling those inside areas for strikes. Fans are standing up while cheering for a strike 3. You should wait till there's 2 outs. Well, that's wide. But thankfully, Kirk didn't have to kick it out of the dirt because that would have not mattered. Sure, it was a ball, but there was no one on base, so it didn't really hurt anybody. So, yeah, the last time the Mariners were in was when the Diamondbacks beat the Braves, and Fox with Tom Brenneman did that and basically said that Bob Brenly went from the Fox booth to the pennant in a swing and a strike 3. That's strikeout number 5 for Gosman. As Rosarina goes down swinging on a decent pitch. So there's 2 outs, and we'll see who's next. For the Mariners, oh yeah, that's Raleigh. Yeah, Cal Raleigh at the plate. Are they going to keep Gosman in? You bet you will. You might as well. Oh, Pete Walker is on the top of the dugout, but he's not going to the mound. Ball 1. Yeah, Raleigh, the front runner for the AL MVP because of his 60 home runs in the season. I mean, Cal Raleigh's 60 home runs pretty much is not a fluke. No, it's not the non-tainted record. That's Aaron Judge's 62 a couple years ago. Low, ball 2. And the 60 home runs by Cal Raleigh, most by a primary catcher in Major League history. I mean, that's hard to do. A 50 home run guy by a catcher. I think Salvador Perez did that, but they call that a strike. Okay, 2 balls, 1 strike. So yeah, so Salvador Perez's mark was broken. Cal Raleigh then gone on to be the first catcher to 60 home runs, but he also became the all-time leader in home runs by a switch hitter in a season and all that. Raleigh takes a cricket swing and goes foul, 2-2. So 60 home runs by a switch hitter. I mean, Mickey Mantle's record lasted for 6 decades. 1961, when he had 54. Of course, that was when he had to get out of the home run race with Maris because of an injury. Who knows? Maybe Mantle would have gotten to 61 as well as Maris that year. Mantle did hit a big World Series home run against the Reds, and so did Maris. I think that was the same game, or there was different games in Cincinnati that Mantle. I think it wasn't Mantle who had a big home run. I think it was Johnny Blanchard, game 3. What am I thinking? Really? Oh no! Oh no! Oh fuck no! Was that a good pitch to throw it? Of all people, it's Cal freaking Raleigh. I should have guessed. And that's probably going to get Gosman out of the game. Shoot. 420 feet. Blaze it. He blazed it. All right. Shit. I wonder if that was a good pitch you should have thrown. Yep, and there's the Mariners trident. Like our home run jacket. He had a prop. It was low in the zone. It was a curve. Gosman knew he screwed up. Yeah, Raleigh started his swing and went kind of an uppercut swing into right center, 420 on the board. Well, that sucks. Now the Jays really need some runs and all that. It's like, what the heck happened? I mean, game 1 of the LDS against the Yankees, we gave Gosman plenty of run support. Now we can't. I had a funny feeling with the dome being closed that the Jays were not going to score a lot of runs. A lot of people kind of say the Blue Jays manipulate things with the dome closed. But yeah, we pounded all those runs and hits with the roof open. Well, of course, a week ago, we were looking at 27-degree Celsius temperatures, whereas now it's like 16 Celsius. So things have changed and all that. I mean, the Mariners play in a retractable roof as well, but I think they're going to keep their roof open and all that. Maybe I'm thinking that, with the roof closed, the Jays are going to screw up. Well, Springer did go deep. I'm just thinking, well, if the roof was open, would the Currents help us or the Mariners? That's the question. But yeah, Cal Raleigh went deep and all that. So it's 1-1. Ball 4 to Julio. Gosman is getting himself. He was looking so good, and then all of a sudden he's floating there. Farland and Little are in the pen. Yeah, Schneider's going to have to go get Gosman. If we're running first, you can't, and a 1-1 game, you can't take any chances. So, yeah, Gosman has to come in. I feel so bad for him. So, yeah, that feels so rotten. All right. So, yeah, I just learned from Facebook that they have released the whole LCS schedule. All right. So, game one, of course, tonight, 8 o'clock against Seattle. We host Seattle at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The game two, LA Milwaukee, 8 o'clock will be the second game of the doubleheader. Of course, they start their LCS, and then it's 8 o'clock. Our time, as I suspected, 8 o'clock. Our time is game three, Toronto at Seattle. They're putting Milwaukee, LA game three of the NLCS on the Thursday at 6 o'clock, and then Toronto, Seattle at 8:30 Eastern time. So that means I can kind of stream game four. I'll just be late coming back from ball hockey, but I can stream technically. Game five, if need be, will be at 6 Eastern time. All that. I wish they'd put it for 4 Eastern time and all that because, that's 1 Pacific time. Yeah, if the ALCS ends in a sweep, then NLCS game four will be moved to 8 o'clock instead of 8:30. So, yeah, Toronto, Seattle next Friday at 6 o'clock would be game five. And then next Sunday night on FS1, because Fox wants to have the stupid Trios of Horror. Yeah, 9 home runs in 14 games at the Rogers Center. Yeah, he likes hitting in the ballpark. I should have figured. So, yeah, the Blue Jays in game six would host Seattle at 8 o'clock, and then game seven would be at 8 o'clock. Guaranteed. That would be on Fox. So, Fox only has games 1, 2, and 3 on the main network. FS1's got the other 4. So, yeah, guess they don't want to start an LCS game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time. That's kind of pathetic, I think. So Brendan Little is on the bump. Farland, I'm actually surprised, wasn't going to pitch. I thought, well, he had rest. I mean, we did clinch on Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days of rest, and then, the arm. Nice curveball from Little. I bet you Gosman, which is his curveball, was good because if it was, then Blue Jays would be probably up 1-0 headed to the bottom of the sixth. Polanco taking time. You can't do that. You can disengage once if you're the batter. You can't do it a second time because that's an automatic strike. If a pitcher disengages twice in a bat, then and then there's a ball attached to it. Not a baseball, but a real ball. Wide ball one. So, yeah, I wonder if they did, if they said something about, I guess, ctbnews.ca/Kitchener. Oh, they changed the URL. Yeah, police investigation leads to arrest after a man barricades himself inside Kitchener home. Yeah, that's the trouble. That was right close to where I lived. I wonder if there's a and that's a bad pitch, runner to second. There's a robbery investigation. Okay, so pause. So yeah, there was a barricade situation. Yeah, that's okay. I found the article because as I was saying early in my thing. So yeah, because there was an accident. I mean, however, now switching to baseball at halftime of Leafs chefs. Ah, and foul ball. So glad you came. Well, there you are, Tim. I guess you're watching football. I mean, there's nothing wrong with watching football and you know, watching my stuff at the same time. But I mean, yeah, when you focus on football, fair enough and all that. I mean, it is game one, so I have to get inside people's heads, and I just can't. But nevertheless, so yeah. So Cleve baseball fan is in business. 3-2, and that's the left field. This could be trouble. This will be trouble. And it will be 2-1. Oh boy, oh boy. Gosman was looking so good, and now it's 2-1. Wow. Gosman was cruising along. The Blue Jays were looking pretty good, and then all of a sudden now there's a single by Polanco. And thanks to that wild pitch, that got the guy to a home plate. So, okay. So, Tim, what did you miss? Well, you missed a lot. Like I've been talking about, like the Blue Jays stuff about the LDS. I've been talking about the LCS appearances. Of course, in the chat, you'll hopefully see what the stats I wrote down, like the World Series records for both Seattle and Toronto. Lurkers are welcome if need be. ALCS appearances by the Mariners and Blue Jays and all that, and talked about their both teams' ALCS experiences and all that. The highs and lows, and the fact that combined, these guys are these two teams are 2-8 in ALCS. Of course, someone has to win this one, but yeah, the Blue Jays. 2 chances at the World Series, 2 wins, and then the Mariners have yet to put one on the board. So, anyway. Ryan Merritt. Because I'm thinking to myself, oh, you played for Cleveland. Okay, fair. But I'm like, Ryan Merritt. Was he really one of the relief aces? Because I know he was the starter in Game 5 of the ALCS. Well, I don't think the Jays in 2016 were going to be down 3 games. When they were down 3-1, we're going to get to Cleveland. I mean, even if Toronto won that Game 5, I mean, there's no guarantee Toronto would have won Game 6 or 7. So I think we were dead in the water once we went down 3-0 to the Tribe. So, yeah, we were screwed. The Blue Jays were screwed in 2016. I mean, I had little faith. 2015, we should have taken care of the Royals. Trying to pick them off and all that. So, yeah, following the ALCS more thoroughly in 2015 and 16 because when you get older, because the 93 LCS was when I was 8. So I followed it okay, but I didn't follow it harshly. 1-2. Well, we got Naylor, but we give up 2 runs, including the home run to Cal Raleigh. So the Blue Jays, Gosman had it right in their paws, and then he just threw one terrible pitch to Raleigh, and it but a domino effect. Blue Jays are down 2-1. Yeah, Ryan Merritt. I rather have Ryan Mallett. and Merritt because, Ryan Mallett, who, of course, is deceased, but he was one of the best quarterbacks in Arkansas history. A lot of people say Clint Sterner. A lot of people say Joe Ferguson, or I can't remember the quarterback in '64 for Arkansas when they won that half national championship. But um, yeah, Casey Dick. No, not Casey Dick. No, he was a quarterback for us. I'm thinking of the guy from 2007. It wasn't Mallett. I wish it was Ryan Mallett. Oh yeah, Matt Jones, who became a tight end in with the Jaguars and then got arrested and all that stuff. So, oh boy. CD Street. Yeah. So anyway, Danny Farquhar. He is the assistant pitching coach. He had an aneurysm during his playing career. Did not know that. So yeah, yeah, it was a crazy day today, Tim, on this Sunday. I went to church and all that, try to realize the sermon, and then I get on the bus to go home from church to close to my street. And then all of a sudden we had to be diverted to a side street because the roadway. Anyway, but yeah, we had to take a massive detour because there was a home investigation. Someone barricaded themselves inside of an apartment and were throwing things literally on the road towards the cops and all that stuff smashed on the road. And the problem was the road is right by the light rail transit in Kitchener, like one of the stations. But yeah, so it was just crazy and all that. It took a little longer to get home. Did my stuff, did my grocery shopping right after the early games of football, which I got 6-3 in the early games in predictions. I missed the Eagles prediction. Bryce Miller's still in the mound. Okay. I missed the Eagles prediction on Thursday Night Football. Of course, I would. I picked the Jaguars to beat the Seahawks and got bit. And what else did I get bit on? Without looking. I know the Pats won. I have to look in my football book. And I also botched. Oh yeah, Dallas, Carolina. I botched because Carolina didn't have Chuba Hubbard, Canadian, in the lineup. I thought, oh, Dallas is going to beat them. Does not. Other than that, I was pretty good. Prediction 6-3, and then I went 2 out of 3 in the late games. I picked the Titans over the Raiders because I was thinking somehow in some way the Titans are going to do it. Stroud will drop off. Frig. It drops into the glove of Julio Rodriguez. Shoot, I thought I was going to drop. Nope. Stroud actually didn't start the game. Nathan Lucas did. But unfortunately, Lucas fouled the ball right off his knee. Yeah, renaming the Cowboys the Alcs Cowboys because the D is missing. Yeah, I know my buddy Bill Lang, who is coming back to Canada in a few weeks. He's a Dallas fan. That's his NFC team because you are allowed to have an AFC and NFC team. I don't really have an NFC team per se and all that. I used to be the Rams guy, but no. Not Cowboys. I don't know. That's how I roll. All one. So yeah, I feel so awkward. Spire and Bazzardo are in the pen. I know Bazzardo pitched game 5. Spire, I don't think did. I don't remember if he did. One NHL game. Capitals 1, Rangers 0. My goodness, those Rangers just are Jekyll and hiding this year. Because yeah, it's funny. The two Ranger games that have been on while I've been streaming, the Rangers have been outscored 4-0. Well, it was 3-0 Pittsburgh on opening day Tuesday, and then the Rangers lose 1-0 to the Capitals. Crazy thing is that it happens with a Blue Jays game, so it feels bad because if the score holds up in the Blue Jays game, Guerrero, fuck. He was hustling, but it was a 4-3. Yeah. It would be crazy if the New York Rangers just can't win on the same day as the Toronto Blue Jays. And both the Rangers and Blue Jays lose on the same day. Like it happened on Tuesday. It could happen today. That would be a harbinger of things to come. So yeah, 8-3 in Pick'em because I went Titans over Raiders. Couldn't change it. But yeah, I picked the Packers and I picked the Bucks to win. So that's good. I'm 8-3, above 500. Unlike last week when I had a disaster 6-8. Columbus game last night was weird. Columbus scored 7 and allowed 4 power play goals, but still won. Yeah, those games were big. I know the Jays screwed everything up. The Leafs, screwed everything up in Detroit of all places. Like, you know, the Leafs will host the Red Wings tomorrow afternoon, but that game is at 2 Eastern, not 4 like it was original, because they want fans to, catch the Blue Jay game. But of course, after the hockey game, you are allowed to watch the baseball game on the big screen and all that at the Scotiabank Arena. So yeah. So I don't know if you know this. Wow, they called that a ball. I'm actually surprised. I don't know if you caught that, Tim. They just released the ALCS. Well, on Facebook, I posted the picture. They released all the ALCS times and all that. So it's 8 o'clock tonight, 5 Eastern tomorrow, ball 4. Game 3 will be 8 o'clock, obviously, because there's no NLCS on Wednesday because they'll be on a travel day. And then Thursdays at 8:30 for game 4. Game 5 is, what did it say, 8 Eastern time? And then that makes no sense. Hang on. Yeah, that's right. Because Friday's 8:30, I think. Sunday's at 8 and Monday's at 8 for games 6 and 7. And Fox decides not to broadcast game 6 because, they want the Trios of Horror stuff on. Fox will only broadcast games 1, 2, and 7 on the main network. FS1 gets the other 4. TBS and TNT get the NLCS. And all that. Dodgers, Brewers. It's going to be hard pressed because you know how the Dodgers are. Dodgers are 2-0 in the playoffs against the Brewers lifetime. And they met in the 2018 LCS, which was a good 7-game series. Milwaukee made it interesting. I think the Dodgers are playoff tested. They are the defending champs. But the Brewers have Bob Uecker, the spirit of Bob Uecker, helping them out. Be the best record in baseball. Kirk swings and misses. So, sorry, you can't blame me for being freaking nervous because you know how this game's going to go and all that. Wide ball 1. That one. So, yeah. So, that's the way it goes. Swing and a miss. That was a terrible swing and miss by Alejandro. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So, yeah, we're on pace to do 6 innings in 2 hours. Like I do the tradition is 3 innings per hour and all that. Anything over 3 hours is like a little awkward, especially with it being 2-1 and all that. So, anyway. Foul. Well, the runner was going to second, but that's a foul ball. So, yeah, I've new 2nd and 10 football NFL tournaments coming up. Video. New Out of the Park baseball's coming out where we would see Philly against Colorado, and one team pitches a complete game victory. And then, of course, ASG Golf, who won the tournament in Austin. Kirk hits at the left field. Caught. Ick. Man, I don't know what happened. We had Bryce Miller on the ropes in the first inning with him throwing over 20 pitches, and yet after that we have been done nothing. Diddly poo offensively. So I just don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get the way it goes. Because technically, I would love to see the Blue Jays. Like, how the heck did we blow this? I mean, we had Bryce Miller on the ropes and we let him off the ropes. It's kind of like George Foreman in The Member of the Jungle, thinking he's got Ali on the ropes, but Ali came back off the ropes and beat him. So that's the analogy I'm making after all. Yeah. So that's that. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring for me broadcasting and all that. Tomorrow, of course, is an off day for both U.S. and Canada because we both have different holidays. We have Canadian Thanksgiving. The Americans, you guys have what is now called Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day, apparently. But like, yeah. So both sides have the day off, don't have to really work. And, Monday morning would basically do stuff like do tapings of projects and all that. But like I only do I do baseball. Like I have all day to do baseball. And that's almost practically the only thing I do Mondays, like for new tapings and all that. I got other things I tape, but I won't release them right away off the bat. I'll probably be doing a couple of Cutter Top 10s tomorrow. My prediction, I'm probably going to do basketball because my Kyle Lowry number 7 Raptors jersey was in the laundry. So I think I'll do a Raptors. I think I'll do some basketball top 10s and all of that tomorrow. If I can find my sheet of paper for everything so that I know what I'm doing. I thought I had it down somewhere. Or I just have it in a different sheet of paper. I thought I had these certain things. It was fun while it lasted. All that. So yeah. So Farland is now on the bump top the 7th. Okay, there we go. That's where my IHF thing is. Yeah, so for basketball, I still have to do the top 10, maybe do the top 10 Raptors / person, like Raptors moments and Raptors players. I'll probably do that. I still have to do the worst NBA teams of all time, the most emotional and the biggest upsets in NBA history, all that. So yeah, I've got some NBA stuff I can do. Tomorrow, no big deal. Got Degrassi videos I got to worry about too. I'll probably tape a Degrassiism, talking about the 200 Degrassiisms around and just showing you what my Degrassiisms playlist is like and just try to give a brief look at what the 200 of them were. And then, I got to add a couple more. I was about to do an analytical video of the 200 Degrassiisms and like what the topics are, but I'm like, yeah, it'd be a lot better if I just show you the 200 episodes, Degrassiisms I've actually created throughout the years. I think the oldest is 2019, and the newest, of course, was just today. I uploaded 4 new Degrassiisms about the Time Stands Still Part 2 for Degrassi. And in case you want to know, Tim, that Time Stands Still episode for Degrassi is the episode in which, Jimmy gets shot. And you know who played Jimmy on that show? One Aubrey Drake Graham. And, his character gets shot. And people thought he would die. But Fortunately, though, he didn't die in the episode. I mean, he didn't die. He just got paralyzed and all that. Yeah, it's a Canadian thing. Or I'd say American. Never seen Degrassi. Never seen Degrassi? I guess you're not really a Drake follower and all that. But, like, yeah, geez. Like, you know. Yes, he was. That's what I was trying to get at. Did I don't know if I spoke. Uh-oh. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, it's off the top of the wall. So Suarez is going to get in with a double. Oh, boy. I'm just trying to think here. Well, the two times that the Jays have won the ALCS, yeah, 92, they lost game 1 and 5. Oh, just off the line. It's off that light blue line. So it's on the line. That's a double. Well, that's automatically in play still. If it was above the line, that's a home run. Of course, they do those lines to prevent those would-be home run catchers to try to interfere with the play. That's the Jeffrey Meyer rule and all that. As he helped Derek Jeter, in 96 in the ALCS. Ooh, did he go? No. Ball 2. Canzone almost swung at that one, even though it was in the dirt. So 2-1 Blue Jays are trailing. They had not trailed at all in the postseason, well, at least at home, before tonight. The games 1 and 2, they had leads. Runner moved the third with 1 out. So there's still a chance for the Yankees to get an RBI, either by a sac fly or a base hit or any stupidity by the Blue Jays. Robles is 0 for 2. I was about to say, well, the Jays losing game 1 in the LCS, there's no chance we're going to win the World Series. But no, 92 we did. We won in 6. Robles will come in. He's 0 for 2. All he's got to do is get a good pitch, and he didn't go. He's a Cleveland guy. Canzone's from Cleveland, eh? Yeah, I was wondering, well, who would be a good DH for Seattle if it's not Canzone? I don't really know their bench that well. Oh, geez, I think he did. I thought he did. I thought he went across the plate on that swing. I thought that was across the plate. Robles, foul. It would be funny if he had thought, oh, crap, that's foul, but that was fair. So, yeah. Blue Jays, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who played in the World Series in 2022 for the Phillies. He's throwing. Robles swings and misses strike 2. So, yeah, it's hard to press, but you know how things go. So, yeah, I have 3 videos to put out today because it's automatic. Like the NFL tournament, I always do it on a Sunday. The out of the park baseball. And, oh, yeah, he swung. He fished, so he can cut bait straight through. Big strikeout by Farland. That means the Mariners basically have to get a base hit or a Toronto boo-boo to score that 3rd run. Yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays, if we lose this game, it's just we had a chance to get at Bryce Miller and knock him flat, but we flunked ourselves flat. Crawford. I think, wait, we only have 2 hits, don't we? Or is it 3? I think we only have 2. And those were in the first, that was the first inning, was it not? I know the home run for sure, but I think that other hit was in the first inning. Crawford's 0 for 2. Yeah, man, it'd be like, well, what the heck happened? We're going to be like, how the heck did we screw up? And I think maybe the dome, like being the dome, I think because we closed the dome, maybe we screwed ourselves up because the first two games against the Yankees were at home in this bright sunshine, although it was like 27 Celsius. So, like, there could be a difference here. Automatic take, and that's a strike. Yeah, a lot of people be like, well, come on, why would you swing out a 3-0 pitch? Well, it might be a meatball down the pike. It does happen. Oh, they say strike two. Crawford's like, what? How is that a strike? That was a ball. Well, he might have a point here. I mean, the Blue Jays, if they can just get this out, they're only down by 1. All right. Okay. Clemens got the ball. All right. Nothing to worry about. Runner stranded 90 feet away. I don't know how long they're going to allow Miller to pitch and all that. Yeah, 2 hits by the Blue Jays. Kind of pathetic. Our hitters have screwed up again. So, like, Yeah, I got a lot of people talking about these things. How are we doing? Oh, Chiefs are winning 20-10. So, yeah, the Chiefs are winning. That's good because I got them as my pick. I know Detroit has a better record, but Kansas City at home, just one game in the NHL, pathetic. And it was only 1 goal. So, anyway, that's kind of crazy and all that. So, yeah, there's a few people doing streams and all that I really want to keep my eyes on. So, anyway, yeah, the police investigation. So, yeah, a man has been taken into custody following a police investigation that had a barricade situation in Kitchener. One of the region police said in a post to X, formerly Twitter, that there was an increased police presence in the area of Charles and Cedar Street around noon for an investigation about a man barricading himself inside a residence. And then Zach Erb said, this morning I heard some commotion outside, so I went outside and saw there was a cop car. There were people throwing stuff from the top window, and the cops ended up going through the back door and arrested him. And the man was alone in his home, and they took him into custody at 2 o'clock. Yeah, broken glass and debris on Charles Street. That's the one that, yeah, a lot of the stuff was on that street and all that. Throwing a bunch of stuff. It was glass, toys, a baby stroller, water bottles, basically everything they could find in their house. They were throwing it out. And Grand River Transit said that riders had to take an emergency detour on Route 3 and 7 because Charles Street East was closed. And the southbound lanes were closed and all that. So, yeah, police have not released additional things and all that. So, yeah, so that's a humongous thing and all that. But you have to do what you have to do. Fortunately, though, they did arrest the guy. Like I said, I was kind of caught up in that situation. Oh, they took Miller out and now Spire. Now Toronto. I don't know how good Seattle's bullpen is. I know the Yankees have had a Jekyll and Hyde bullpen, and they took him out of it in a sense. But I don't know Seattle's bullpen. Here's Farshow. Takes another strike. 0-2. Yeah, that's the one thing you don't know about. 6 games against the Blue Jays in his career, 1.8 ERA. It's Gabe Spire, not Justin Spire. Justin Spire pitched for the Blue Jays. So, yeah, We'll see what ends up happening here in the bottom of the 7th. Wide ball 1. Okay, so anyway, yeah. So yeah, I gotta upload. Do some uploads. Ball 2 wide. So yeah, I've got to do some uploading, especially of those 3. Considering how much I uploaded today with the whole Degrassi thing, I don't want to take risks and be told, "Hey, you've hit the upload." Partial to center, shit. Julio didn't move, so that obviously means screwed. Yeah. Brash is in the bullpen too with Arnico. Yeah, so anyway, Clement to right field. Yeah, that's way too easy. I swear the Blue Jays should have just opened the dome for this game because maybe, just maybe, the Blue Jays would have probably done much better. I just had this funny feeling that the Blue Jays could have easily kept the roof open and maybe we would be winning. So yeah, that kind of ticks me off in a sense. It's like, we had Bryce Miller dead to rights in the first inning, and yet we let him get away with it, and we haven't done anything. Santander has been the only guy to get a hit minus Springer, and that was the leadoff home run. Santander! No way he caught it. Damn it, he did catch it. Wow, how the frick did he catch that ball? Arozarena has screwed us. Not for the first time and not the last time. Jeez. Man, our offense has sputtered again. Did we waste too much against the Yankees? So, yeah. So, man, it's going to be like, what the heck are you going to do? Like, Blue Jay fans are going to be like upset. I would be too. So, yeah, ASG Golf was an interesting one. The 18th hole was the last player on the last hole decided what would happen. Yep. That's just what I'm saying and all that. So, yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on here. We're down 2-1 in the 7th inning. And for the first time after 7 innings, well, the Jays are losing. They did in game 3 against the Yankees, but because they were down by 3, I just basically gave up and said, screw it, I'm closing the stream down. But I'm not closing it down. We're only down by 1, headed to the 8th inning. So, this game probably will be over by 11 o'clock, by my guess. And then, of course, it gets you thinking. It's like, well, now that your traditional stuff has happened, what's your plan? For me, probably switching jerseys. The hat will probably be gone. I'll probably just switch to my Leafs hat, I guess. Yeah, I guess I could switch to my Leafs hat and all that to watch the game down here. I'll just have a different monster drink, and I'll probably just drink it out of the can and see if that works and all that. Man, disaster for the Blue Jays. Great offense against the Yankees, and yet we've only done 2 hits past the Mariners in 7 innings. And that was the first inning when we got those 2 hits. So basically our offense screwed up. Our pitching you can't give up a home run to Cal Raleigh like that. Sir Anthony is now at the plate, on the mound. Did pretty well, 3 1/3 against the Yankees. And, he's been World Series player in 2022 with the Phillies. They lost the World Series to the Astros. Fans are still on their feet. It is 2-1. It is a close game. So anyway, here's Dominguez way up on Arozarena, the leadoff guy in the Mariners lineup. 0-for-3. His batting average has dipped below 150. Well, almost at 150. It will drop below 150 if he doesn't get a hit here. High ball, too. A walk doesn't hurt his batting average and all that. It doesn't boost it, though. Years ago in 1887, they decided to count walks as hits, and that's why there were like a lot of records. But it was just for the one season. Strike in the zone, 2-1, just below zone. Yeah, I wonder if you don't give up the home run to Raleigh, would the Blue Jays be winning still? Probably. Too high, ball 3. So, yeah. So, ball 4. So, anyway, yeah. So, that's just, there's Cal Raleigh. Yeah, he's had a great time at Rogers Center. Well, the Blue Jays having home field advantage means that they'll host game 6 and 7. Well, if those are necessary. So they get 4 LCS dates. They get the first 2, 1, 2, and then 3, 4 in Seattle. And then if the series doesn't end in a sweep, then the Mariners will get a third home game. That kind of works out. But I mean, if the Jays are wins in 5, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, Raleigh's got a pair of hits today. And basically, they said he's the reason why the Mariners are in this situation. Yeah, he had 16 home runs. Kyle Schwarber, second with 56. Ohtani-san with 55. Aaron Judge with 53. Yeah, it's weird how someone would out-homer Aaron freaking Judge, and it's Kyle Raleigh. You don't think catchers are sluggers and all that. Johnny Bench was a good hitter who could hit home runs even though he was a primary catcher, and so was Mike Pizza. But other than that, you don't really think of much. Russell Martin was a decent Blue Jays catcher, but he wasn't really a slugger per se. Think he went. Yeah, bet. And that was in the strike zone too. So nice. We got Raleigh on a strikeout and all that. Yeah, Raleigh couldn't believe it. Dominguez, baby. Nice swing. He went, and that was a strike anyhow. Yeah, that was a strike anyhow. So, you can't fault them. And now J-Rod. Up. That's a terrible pitch. And the runner was moving the second anyway. So, yeah, that's got it. I think they're saying it's a stolen. Is it a stolen base? Oh, you just let it play him. Alejandro let it play him. I think that's a pass ball. But anyway, yeah, Rodriguez. Yeah, Rodriguez would have moved to second anyway. Disengaged. Well, one more disengagement, and they'll put a ball in the count. Fluharty is on the bump for the Jays in the bullpen. Pitching the way. Ball 2. Oh, they go for third. Oh, man. I should have known. Give a Arozarena or any good speed demon a chance, and he's going to try to burn you. They're doing the old school, using the stolen base as a way to lose them. Yeah, they should have. Yeah, you can't disengage. Ball 3. Well, practically, J-Rod could just fly it to the outfield and score an RBI. So that's just the way it goes. It's a 3-ball count. That's the swing of that ball. He could have taken it. That would have been strike one. So it's strike one anyhow. So, yeah, the Jays play the Mariners at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Part of the LCS doubleheader is the Dodgers head to Milwaukee at 8 o'clock for game one of their series. Are you kidding me? That looked like it just nipped the strike zone. Polanco, he does have an RBI, so he has the go-ahead RBI in this game because Cavalli tied it with a home run, and then Polanco, after a few hits and calamity, Pete Walker to the bump. That definitely is not John Schneider going to the bump. Yeah, I'm just like shocked and all that. So, yeah, so the OTP thing is now up with no restrictions. ASG Golf is checking, and Second and 10 football is not up yet. I think it's because it's like a long video, like almost an hour. All that, yeah. Tomorrow's going to be like, how do I do the mornings? I'll probably do a couple of top 10s, and then probably just do the video about 200 Degrassi isms and show you the 200 Degrassi isms as a whole and all that. Because I know I got to do a couple of Degrassi things, like the Degrassi Jump the Shark thing, ranking videos from 1 to 10, like what the moments are and all that. I did the prelim polls. There were 10 Jump the Shark moments and all that. For Degrassi. And then what was the other one? I think the most Degrassi immature characters. I have to write about that and see what I can do for a video. So I'm going to mess with Polanco strike one on that one. Get rid of Polanco will be okay, I think. Jays can't really risk runners on third base, but you got to remember, we're only down by 1. If the Blue Jays can freaking hold on to this thing, they have a chance. They only have a few more offensive innings left, which kind of ticks me off in a sense. Because I can't really think of Blue Jay postseason moments in the bottom of the ninth. Like in the bottom of the ninth. Like I know Al Oliver had that game-winning hit in the 10th inning of game 2. But, you're trailing in the bottom, in the ninth, and then you win it in a walk-off and all that. Can't really recall that. Well, Ed Sprague's thing, but that wasn't really a walk-off. Blanco? For the hole, 3-1. Well, that's just sad and all that. They have to take Dominguez out now. It's 3-1. Ooh. I started up so well for the Blue Jays. I spare the hockey pucks that the Jays should have kept the freaking roof open. Because who knows what would have happened if the roof was open. Like, I don't know. Well, not a lot of Blue Jay games had the roof closed. Well, the summertime, we had hot temperatures. We had hot temperatures last weekend, and we kept the roof open. And now we have cold temperatures. We have to close the roof. I think there's a rule. Doesn't MLB have a rule that, like, retractable stadiums, like retractable roof stadiums, if it's a certain temperature below a certain temperature and it's below that, they have to automatically put the roof up or something? Because I wonder if the Mariners have to do the same crap for the games in their area. I mean, they have retractable roof stadiums. I think the Seahawks do play at home next week and all that. Yeah, they played on the 20th against Houston. But the good news for the Mariners is that they don't have, and Seahawks is that there is no issues with the whole situation with the logistics because, well, that's game 7 of the ALCS, but it's in Toronto. So logically, it doesn't matter. Although you want to have fans in the stands watching the baseball game. If the Mariners Blue Jays don't go to game 7, I mean, you're going to get fans who are not really going to be paying attention to the Mariners game. So, yeah, that's how things go and all that. Yeah, Blue Jay fans, it is Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. New pitcher on the bump, it's Fluharty. It's like, well, how the heck are we blowing this game? Our stupid offense, which was carrying us. Even in that game 3 loss to the Yankees, it was carrying us decently until the 6-1 choke. But yeah, the Blue Jays, I think they're just nervous that they're going to repeat the whole 2022 wild card brouhaha in which we had game 2 by the scruff of the neck and to force a game 3 and maybe move on to, well, we would have faced Houston in the ALDS. And who knows, maybe we would have given Houston a massive fright in 2022, the eventual world champs. I mean, I know the Mariners lost a game in the 18th inning thanks to Jeremy Pena's home run. Well, that was in Seattle. I think that was when Seattle got eliminated from the playoffs. When Pena did that in 18 innings. Fluharty's going to throw. Oh, he had a pickoff. No. So, yeah, the Blue Jays are in trouble. They're down 3-1 runners on first and second with 1 out. If the Jays can freaking get out of this mess and all that, that'd be great because then, you have only 2 offensive innings left. Yeah. Swing on my strike 2. And there's the batting helmet coming off. So they need something. A ground ball would be perfect. Get the double play, get out of the mess. But I don't think so. Why? Trying to get him to fish for that ball, but he did not. Yeah, a lot of things are going on right now. Football's going on right now. Basketball's in preseason mode. Hockey's on the right. Only 1 game for hockey. Swing and a miss. He fished and he can't cut bait on that one. He's just not having a good day at the plate. But the good news for him is that his teammates have picked up Naylor. So, yeah, that was a cricket swing. Like, the ball has to bounce before you swing it in cricket. And he does a cricket swing, but the worst part is that you can't do a cricket swing in baseball because sometimes that doesn't work. So Suarez comes to the plate. His batting average now is 125. So he's got out of that slump under 100 batting average. Oh, and they call that a strike. I don't know if the umpire's calling a game or not. I really don't know, and I really don't care. Although we're down 3-1. Ball 1. So, yeah, I can't watch the Leafs tomorrow because they're on Amazon Prime, and I don't have Amazon. So, yeah, I watched the first few games for the Leafs, but listen, can't tomorrow. And then the Leafs have a bit of a homestand. Yeah, they play Nashville Tuesday. They played the Rangers on Thursday. Anyhow. Yeah, Fluharty better be careful because I think that the next disengagement for him is a ball. They're trying to speed up the game, but yeah, we're in the 8th inning. We should be close to finishing the 8th inning. by proxy if you go 3 innings per hour. We were going at brisk speed until Cal Raleigh had ruined for that home run. Did something go flying? Yeah, his bat went flying, didn't it? Oh, I thought there was a piece of his bat that went flying. Something went flying down the left field line. Not the ball, but something else. But anyway, it's a 2-2. Oh. I don't know why I'm yawning. I've been pretty much awake the past well, this is dream number 5. Been pretty much awake. I haven't had any visions of falling asleep. Wow. Yeah, the Jays have to do something. Anything on calls. Huh. Yes, they got him. Well, a pair of strikeouts, but Seattle did score a run to make it 3-1. So if we don't score, we're doomed, I think. Okay, everything is unrestricted, if you will. So, yeah. Time for a live stream. Right now, it is 20-17. The Chiefs are only up by 3. Only up by 3. So, anyway. Yeah, I feel that the Blue Jays should have had everything open up. Yeah, I like to see those LCS plays that keep getting more and more unique. Yeah, the Mariners have scored more runs than the Jays have had hits. Like, how can the Jays only have 2 hits and all that? I need to think of I need to eat something. I need to have some kind of rally food. All that. I need rally food. I need rally food. That's not food. That's not food. That's not food either. That's definitely not food. That's food. Conservative bars are food. Yeah, I'm doing some cargo unpackings one of these days. Not brash. He was very brash. He's very brash, I say. You go to the boat, trying to save the day. Up, they have to wear the rally hats. I might have to wear the rally hat for the 9th. It's still doable if the Jays can wake the frig up. Yeah, like I said, if the Jays can just wake the frig up, then, we'll be okay. Ambo, son of a. Our only offense is up at the plate. And that's Springer with the home run. Hoffman is throwing. Do you use your closer now? You're down by 2. What the hell is that? He was standing up outside. Can't you just see that? Coming out of nowhere. Just look where the catcher is. David Schneider's now coming to the plate to pinch hit. Maybe that's a smart move. I swear this is the worst postseason hitting step for the Blue Jays. Only 2 hits through 8. How do you do these rally caps? I really don't know how to do a rally cap. Mostly because, I don't like to wear my hats. I think these hats are impossible to put inside out. Due to the fact that, they're made from a different material, I think. So, yeah. The Blue Jays will have less than 24 hours to think everything over. Because game 2 starts at 5 o'clock Eastern time. So that was like 21 hours after game 1. Yeah, see, this hat does not like to be twisted around. Yeah, it's almost impossible to do like rally caps. Because I think there's some kind of material thing. But yeah. So yeah, this hat will probably be put on the shelf for sure because it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll probably wear my Leaf hat tomorrow while streaming. I will stream game 2. I will stream game 3. Game 4 will be a late start because of ball hockey, but I don't know when I'm gonna be back in time from ball hockey, or that could be 9 o'clock. I'd be back. It could be 9:30 at night and all that. With the game 4 time being that late, which actually helps me out. So Schneider is now in the outfield playing left field. I think he was in for, I don't know. Santander's playing right field. So Straw is out. Yeah, Straw's out because Straw was playing right field. Yeah, Santander was playing left. So now Hoppin's coming to the plate. Yeah. So top of the 9th. So I really don't have much expectation. All that, me. Are they talking all that? Oh yeah, they're talking about one thing. What would you change in a sport? Dave Gardner's doing this stuff and all that. But it depends on what sport it is, like baseball, basketball, football, hockey. Munoz, the closer for Seattle, who pitched in Game 5 a couple days ago, was okay. So he's going to be on the bump for the Mariners. It is a safe situation as of right now. Of course, the Mariners still are batting. If they score 2 more runs, that's not a safe situation. Chopper, the first fly, should be able to get it, scoop it up. Nicely done. Yeah, you would think with only 4 runs scored that this game would be faster than 2 hours 40 minutes. It'd be like 2 hours 20 minutes, if anything. But no. And yeah, World's Worst Gamer saying on that stream, give Leafs a participation Stanley Cup. That's what everyone says. All that. I'm kind of a bit fuming at, the fact that everyone just basically, oops, sorry. That's supposed to be the Redford Live. I can't really do. Kansas City, yep, looking good. Basketball moved back at the 3-point line. Baseball, not sure what you could change. Probably the playoff format. Chopper, throw quick. Shit. You couldn't do anything. Yeah, basketball moved back the 3-point line. Yeah. I don't know if that's always been what the 3-point line is, like 21 feet or whatever it is. I keep thinking that they moved it up in the years past. I know 1979 they had the 3-point line and all that. They created that in the NBA before college did that. But I think it feels like it's been the same ever since 79, but I don't think so. I think they moved it up a few feet like years ago. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really pay attention to these things. And, I'm not really a they did move it up for a few seasons in the late 90s, early 2000s, but then moved it back. Yeah, I think you got to move them back because everyone is throwing 3-pointers, and that's basically your offense and all that. You live or die by the 3-pointers. That's like Golden State with the Splash Brothers with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I think Thompson's out or he's somewhere else. He's not with the Warriors, I don't think. Steph Curry, I know, is still with the Warriors. Guy, I feel like should retire in a few years because, he's been around for like 15. Let's see. He would get, I think 2008 was when he was drafted, right? Because I think he was a senior with Davidson and he had that March Madness thing, and then Minnesota passed on him twice. I mean, Ricky Rubio had been pretty good. Rubio was not that bad of a player for the Timberwolves. You're saying that the dome closed? Lowers. Oh, also the. Oh, I don't know. And hockey, Cleveland Baseball Senses to improve technology. Should be a sensor. I don't think we really want the Fox glowing puck. Yeah. Well, at least we got the second out. I don't know. Well, pretty much what I'm saying, World's Worst Gamer, is that, the Blue Jays were hot in games 1 and 2 at home against the Yankees, and the roof was open. Although it was daytime, though, too. Shot speeds. Yeah, fine. Yeah, shot speeds. There's nothing wrong with shot speeds. It's just the fact that the puck was glowing and all that stuff and all that. Couldn't there be like some kind of sensor without needing a blue halo and all that? I mean, yeah, it was done to help get American TV audiences and all that, but Canadians have to see that too for a little bit. Strike 2 on that one, Rosarena. Now let's hope that the Jays can just limit the damage and then, all that. I technically don't blame the pitching. I mean, it's not that bad. Pitching was okay. Yeah, a 3-1 game. I mean, if you give up less than 5, it's not the pitcher's fault. It's the hitter's fault. Yeah, the Jays have 2 hits. That's right. We only have 2 hits. In the first inning, though, 2-0-2. Yeah, they got him. Boom. Nice job by Hoffman. Well, the pitching's been okay. Now Munoz is going to come in. He needs to put up or shut up out of the bullpen. Guerrero, Barger, and Kirk are at the plate. Yep, the Mariners 3 runs on 7 hits and an error. Blue Jays 1 run on 2 hits. Blue Jays down by 2 runs in the 9th. I don't remember the Blue Jays at home being down by 2 or more and winning the game and all of that. In the 9th, I should say. Down by 2 in the 9th and winning the game. I don't recall that. I don't think that's ever been done in Blue Jay history. In the postseason history, I must say. Because I know in regular season history, it's been done several times, including Steve Pearce's walk-off grand slam, what they call an ultimate grand slam, in which you're down by 3 and then you hit a grand slam to win the game. Another ultimate grand slam that comes to mind is David Bodie, Cubs against Washington when the Nats were up 3-0, and then Bodie came in and hit the center field batter's eye and all that. And basically, Matt Vasgersian for ESPN says they're building that David Bodie statue at Wrigley Field. Of course, that they wouldn't do that in real life. Because if that was a playoff home run, yes, you give him a statue. So, yeah, it's just like pathetic with the Blue Jays and all that. Wishing you a good Thanksgiving. Oh, Garner's done his thing. Yep, and same to you, World's Worst Gamer, because you're down in Sarnia. That's in southwestern Ontario, too. Yep, the Leafs play tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock against the Red Wings, which they just put the game off of Amazon Prime and put it back on Sportsnet. All that, but of course, Sportsnet has the pregame for the Blue Jays at 4 o'clock. So, yeah, or put it on TSN. Although, no, you can't put it on TSN because the Alouettes host the Red Blacks. That's Ottawa. Speaking of which, I better check the CFL scores and all that. Saski beat Toronto. So once again, Toronto sucks. Calgary beat Hamilton. That actually helps the Alouettes out. If the Alouettes can win, they're now 9-7. They'll be half game back of Hamilton for first in the East. Calgary's at 9-7. Edmonton beat Winnipeg. So Edmonton's not actually out of the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination. They're still in. Toronto can't do anything, and now they can Ottawa. Yeah, so Saski's got 12 wins. BC's got 9. Calgary's got 9. Yeah, Winnipeg at 8 and Edmonton at 7. Everyone in the West has to play the final 2 weeks because Ottawa and Montreal play, and they're from the East. So that means, Montreal and Ottawa play twice. Hamilton and Toronto would be the teams with the byes the last 2 weeks. I don't know if Hamilton has to bye next week or Montreal does. Or Toronto does. Next week it's Saski. Hamilton has to bye next week. So they don't play next week. They don't play this weekend. This upcoming weekend, I should say. So if the Alouettes can beat Ottawa and then beat Ottawa in the rematch Saturday afternoon, then it's a tie with Hamilton. But I think Hamilton's got the tie break on head-to-head, I think. Well, Hamilton's 6-1 against the division. Montreal's 4-2. So they still have time. Girl, foul, 1-2. Yeah, Montreal has to go to Winnipeg on the final day. Hamilton hosts Ottawa. So Hamilton's got an easy opponent in Ottawa, the worst team in the CFL. Edmonton can't claim that. 1-2. Guerrero, chopper, flub it. Damn it. 6-3 on that. Well, yeah, Montreal beats Ottawa both times with Hamilton with the bye. It's 10-7. It's a tie for first in the East. But that means that Montreal will need Hamilton to choke against Ottawa. Yeah, they play 8 games against teams in their division. Well, teams in the East have to play each other twice, and then there's 2 extra games. So you play 3 games against 2 of your 3 division rivals in the East because there's only 4 teams. Barger, why did he swing out the first pitch? Where's the the patience? Why the frig are the patience? Yeah, Montreal, Ottawa will play tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day. Edmonton has a chance to catch Winnipeg for 4th place and the crossover to Montreal. Well, Montreal at worst will have to host the crossover game because Toronto and Ottawa can't do anything about it. Yeah, so Saski goes to Winnipeg. Edmonton goes to British Columbia on Friday night, doubleheader. And then Saturday afternoon, Montreal goes to Ottawa, and then Toronto goes to Calgary. BC and Calgary are still, they're chasing for that 2 seed and the home playoff game. I know that if you're 3rd, you're definitely not going to, Kirk. Yeah, I struck. Of course he would. Hope they decide not to change things. Well, we'll see what happens. Choke. Not even close. Holy shit. That has got to be one of the worst offensive performances in Blue Jays history. I think the worst in Blue Jays history. 1 run on 2 hits, and that was the first inning. You did not comment on what I said about the Raleigh home run. Yeah, Raleigh hit a home run because Gosman grooved it. Yeah, sorry, Gosman grooved that pitch. Should not have pitched to him. There was no one on base. Do you really intentionally walk somebody with no one on? All that? Like, if we wanted to intentionally walk the guy in the 6th, why did we not walk the guy? Yeah, 2 outs. Fine, but like, why didn't we just intentionally walk him the first time or the second time up? All of that. Raleigh was not doing that good. So, yeah, like, fuck. A fucking disgrace. Yeah, 16 home run guy, sure, but like, did Detroit intentionally walk Raleigh? I don't think they really did. But yeah. 2 fucking hits. 2. And they were the first inning. We had Bryce Miller on the ropes. Great. This better not be a harbinger of things to come. I can't have that. I just can't. I mean, it's my hometown team. All that. I mean, the Blue Jays have got farther this year than the Leafs did. I mean, the Leafs freaking didn't get to the Final Four. The Leafs haven't been to the Final Four in the NHL since 2002. That's even, well, no, the Mariners kind of was close that streak, but yeah, 23 years. But yeah, the Leafs haven't even been to the Final Four since 2002. So the Jays at least got farther than the Leafs, which is saying a lot. Not saying a lot sometimes. But yeah, frick. I would take off my Blue Jays shirt, but I'm wearing nothing underneath. And YouTube gets pissy with shirtless people. So obviously I'm not going to do that. You can't be afraid to run around 2 outs. No reason not to. They deserve the loss. That's not why they lost. Okay, they deserved the loss because they only had 2 hits. It wasn't for like putting Raleigh on and then Raleigh burned us with the home run. That wasn't that. It could have been something else, if anything. The Jays' offense was why they lost. Only 2 hits, and that was the first inning. You put Bryce Miller on the ropes. He threw 20-plus pitches in the first inning, and we thought, okay, we got this. But how the hell did we not take advantage of a weakened Seattle team who went through 15 innings a couple nights prior? I mean, all that. I blame the dome. I blame the dome being closed. It actually bit Toronto in the butt. I know the Jays offense sucked with only 2 hits and all that. But I am doing a card unpacking. Well, I will unpack a deck of cards because I do one every game. So yeah, I'll do that. All right, let's see who I get. All that. I didn't get any like superstars. Well, I got Jeannie Suarez last time. Suarez, but yeah. Yeah, but like Cal Raleigh, I don't think that was why we lost. The Jays lost because they only got 2 hits. You cannot screw this up. Well, everything has changed. So hat will now be, so I have to wear a Leaf hat now. Change this to the light Blue Jays jersey, like the current light Blue Jays jersey, because I can't wear the gray because that's the road jersey, if you will. I will never agree with you on this. I don't care. You don't have to agree with me. There's no law saying thou shall agree with Cutter on everything. All right, here we go. First card is a Harrison Bader with the Mets. I think, where did he go? He went to the Cubs or the Brewers or someone. Yeah, they said his name and all that. Harrison Bader with the Mets. What a name. All that. Who led MLB in hits in 2023? I would say Bichette, but I was wrong. Roddy Kuna. Kuna. Don't want to broom you. Second card is Garrett Crochet with the White Sox. Of course, this is before the disastrous 2024 season. And all that. Dominant pitchers to start 2024. Yeah, that's what the card says. But, you don't. The White Sox as a whole, like, we're just terrible and all that. 123 losses, was it? Something like that. Next up is Wilson Contreras with the Cardinals. Cubs iconic catcher. He was their main catcher in 2016. I know that Miguel Montero also did some stuff, and David Ross. One of the best hitting catchers in baseball. I agree with you. How old is he now? Let's see. Wilson started in 2016 in the majors. So this is 10th season. He was born in 1992. I hate these cards because, like, the red background and the black ink and all that. So that kind of hurts. Next is Addison Barger. There's my first Blue Jay. The Honey Barger. He only had 1,400 at bats and all that. They should just say at bats this put games played and all that. Yeah, Toronto's top first half batter in 2024. Yeah, so this must be like a second half thing for 2024 because they're talking about stats. Yeah, Addie Barger and all that. Yeah, so maybe I'll put my Addie Barger card in, do some voodoo on it. I don't know. Do some magic. Okay, Daryl Hernandez for the A's and all that. So that's his card. Now they wouldn't be called the A's. Can't you just say the can't you just say the Sacramento A's? It doesn't matter and all that. I mean, they call themselves the Athletics. That's the first time in modern Major League history that a team puts a nickname, but they don't associate themselves with a city. It just boggles the mind. You could say Sacramento A's. No big deal. Next is Cutter Crawford. There's my nickname, but with a K. Cutter with a K. I don't know what. Did he do okay? So, yeah, but yeah, Cutter Crawford. Gotta love that. He would definitely be my favorite baseball player if he had his name be a C. I can't believe that's his real first name. Yeah, Cutter Martin Crawford. Can't believe it. Anyway, next is Kenley Jansen, legendary closer for the Dodgers for many years. And then he went to the Braves and the Red Sox. Yeah, Kenley Jansen. Yep. Think of all the Dodger closers. Like Eric Gagne was good. Kenley Jansen was also good too. MJ Melendez for the Royals and all that. So yeah, MJ Melendez, and finally Michael Busch of the Cubbies, Bush League, and all that. So that's all the cards from that deck. I only do one per day, but there will be a game 2 stream. I will create it, and hopefully you can watch. That starts at 5 o'clock, and no, there won't be a Leaf game attached to it. I hoped I would, but Amazon Prime says that way, and I don't have Amazon Prime. I have Netflix, but I don't do hockey. So obviously I've got to try to change my way of thinking and change my voodoo and all that. I know it's weird, despite not following the Kenley Jansen dude. Not following my... Oh yeah, that reminds me. Kenley Jansen was a catcher for the 2009 Netherlands squad. Netherlands and their territories like the Antilles and Carousel. Because Kenley Jansen was at... Oh no, that was 2006 or 2009. He was in the World Baseball Classic as a catcher. No, I think it was 2006 he was in as a catcher, and then 2009 he got moved to the bullpen. But yeah, he was a catcher one time in the World Baseball Classic for the Netherlands, and they beat Puerto Rico twice. Or was it the Dominican Republic? I think it was the Dominican Republic twice in 2009. It shocked the world. But yeah, so I've got a lot of things to look at and ponder and all that. Stream starts at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, and all that. Hopefully people can watch it in Canada, enjoying the Canadian Thanksgiving, or Americans eating holiday food and all that. But yeah, I've got to leave. It's 11 o'clock, and I don't want to keep you too long. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu. And hopefully the Jays win tomorrow.